Professionals spend nearly half the work week on written communication, so focus is important. With Grammarly as your AI writing partner, focus and quickly get through work with relevant real-time suggestions. And it works across 500,000 apps and websites, so you can sound more confident and persuasive wherever you write. 93% of professionals report that Grammarly helps them get more work done. Download Grammarly for free at grammarly.com/podcast. That's grammarly.com/podcast.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Hey, folks. Welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd, and here we have Rich Lott. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Just big day, kind of. Tomorrow obviously. Understatement. But yeah, I'm chilling, man. My back's on fire right now. I don't know why, but yeah.
Someone busted your back.
Yeah.
Wait, what? I was saying a joke. What happened?
He's stupid. Like, I was telling the joke. I was like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But nah, like my shit's on fire, so I gotta do some stretches and try to wheel myself back before Wednesday.
So, what happened?
I don't know. It just was on fire today. Like, I'm old now. Shit, it be hurting, and. This is effects of Beast Athletics 10 years later.
Oh my God.
Doing CrossFit.
He blaming CrossFit from a decade ago. Fair enough.
Like,
I do the same thing sometimes.
I was talking to my master. I was like, I let him know. I was like, yo, my back's on fire today. He was like, from what? And I was like, I used to do like CrossFit like 10 years ago, and it started acting up a little bit, then or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he was like, yeah, he's like a lot of people that do CrossFit end up with like some type of back, messed up, because you get all the people pumping you up while you're doing it, and you got the adrenaline, but then like when the adrenaline wear off, and then like years later that shit be like it be hurting because you out here straining yourself or whatever. Yeah. But I don't know, like I'll be fine, but I'm just a little fucked up right now, but I'll be all right.
Well, I still get my joke off because you said you this happened while you were in Taekwondo class. So, look, man, sometimes you do Taekwondo, sometimes the Taekwondo does you. So yeah, but yeah, man.
I feel like Shawn Michaels, exactly. 1998 Shawn Michaels, the lower back.
Man, I hope you feel better. And I'm the king of fucked up backs. So like there's some stuff I can send you or point you towards direction, but probably give you some help. So yeah, man, like I did some shit today where I was like, my lower back isn't even a problem anymore because I've worked on so much stuff around like above and below. Whereas like now I have like a mid back problem, and like I didn't realize like your traps is not just up here. It's also like. You also have lower traps that extend down further. And it's like, I've been having an issue like with rotation. And like, I've been looking around. I finally found a stretch. I was like, oh my God, like this shit has been bothering me for like almost a month. It's now gone. That shit felt great. So yeah, I got some stuff that I can be like, I can point you to or whatever else. So like, when we get off here, we can run through that or whatever. So yeah.
But yeah. Before we get to all the
I mean, look, this hey, for those that listen, hey, this for One Nation Radio's head over the next few years as we age. Like, hey, man, I got something that, you got something wrong with you with your back. You got something wrong with you.
We got to talk it out.
Yeah,
make
man.
us feel better.
Yeah, man. Like, that's where it's gonna come. That's where it's headed. As we age, that's how it happens. Like, old niggas start talking about injuries. It happens. Like me and Rich, we got. I mean, we never talked about this on air before, but like I don't play basketball anymore. Reason why? I got a friend that blew his patella knee, like his kneecap, his whole patella, like playing basketball a few years back. And then recently Kirby, who has done a review for Royal Rumble on the show with us a couple years back, he tore his Achilles playing pickup ball. My pickup basketball days are over now.
Yeah, bro. I played on the boat.
Not doing it.
I played on the boat, and I played like 3-on-3 or whatever. And I was like thinking about it, like, wow, I didn't hurt myself, but man, what if I did?
Right.
Like, and it was just like, wow, is this like one of the last times I'm gonna really go out there and try to play basketball?
Yeah.
It was kind of kind of sad. I might just have to stick shooting.
Yeah, I'll pick up basketball and shoot, but like my days of like, hey, let me see if I can still dunk a basketball. I think I'm done with that. Just cold, go pick up a basketball and see if I can dunk it. Nah, I think I'm done on that.
Man,
I think I've dunked my last basketball.
Yeah, the closest I ever got to dunking was in 8th grade when like I jumped up and I dunked it off the back of the hoop and like bricked it. And I was like, I'm done. I'm not. I was like, I'm not doing it no more. I got close enough. I'm okay. It's not meant for me. Like I probably like if I went on some type of regimen to increase my lower body strength, this is just all natural. Essentially, I could have probably like been dunking by like 9th grade or whatever, but I was like, all right, I'll just play a different way. But I guess we should probably talk about the death of Quincy Jones, 91 years old, perhaps the greatest music producer to ever live, spanning from the 1950s up until who knows, like like at least like the 2000s or whatever. He's probably still active in some form, but throughout, taking it from jazz to working in orchestral music to working in television, film scores, like some of like the biggest movies and biggest artists, like all like kind of like look to this guy as like a Jedi, a Yoda, like a guy that was just a genius and broke so many color barriers for himself, like in the music business. Frank Sinatra was riding with him. Michael Jackson was riding with him. Like, I was just thinking about it. I was like, bro, all the stuff that this guy did in his life, like, you could not make a movie about this because you'd be like, this is too unrealistic. Like,
yeah. And also he's at that sweet spot of like the music industry where like you get so big where like you run things that like people in his like contemporary positions now never had that power, even while they were powerful as fuck. Like the days of a music producer like having sway in a real way, like that was a thing that was that ended during our lifetimes. He actually, and he's one of those people that had more power than people that like, we were like, hey man, yeah, we shut down a whole, like we're giving them imprints, we're letting them do whatever they want because they're the geniuses. Like that's kind of crazy. And like he's one of the, like in the Rolling Stone era, I'm sure you heard about this. There was recently a former Rolling Stone editor that was writing about musicians or whatever else. And people asked, like, how come you don't have any black musicians as your subjects in this particular book you're writing? And he pointed out, he said some shit about, in his opinion, his bullshit opinion, that black people can't articulate their artistry in the ways that their white counterparts can, which has always been bullshit. Mm-hmm. And
what do they say? They're like playing it off feeling and stuff like that. They try to
trying to do like everyone's James Brown just talking about like, yo, look, this, you see this trumpet in your hand, that's a drum. Like, no, get the fuck out of here. Anyway, you couldn't do that. You couldn't do that with Quincy Jones. Absolutely cannot. right? So like he was one of those guys. So so when we talk about impact and legacy, like he's up there. Like I mean, honestly, this isn't a podcast for that. There will be pop culture podcasts to go through some of the stuff. I'm really interested to see what if there's a Spencer Hall and Bomani segment or podcast coming up on that, because like I thought the one he had that those two did together on Stevie Wonder was really enlightening. As far as like forget the whole Motown part, talk about like him going through UCLA, going through his music deals and everything. All that. I thought it was interesting because it's stuff I've never picked up, because like I've never found with certain artists you have to. It's not a definitive biography. You have to pick up biographies. I ain't got time for that. That's kind of hard. The same thing with Prince. Like there's not a quintessential biography or the go-to variety. There's a few of them, and that's
like
hard.
You gotta,
it's not like how it is with athletes, where it's like
what I find with Prince is like you have to get people that tell the stories inside of like these long ass books. They be like studio session with Prince from 1978 to 91, and you just read that shit like of how he operated, like because they don't tell the stories like that. Yeah. Exactly.
Or
tell their own stories like that. But luckily,
and to be right frank, I don't feel like black artists have granted writers the kind of access that like rock bands did in the 60s, 70s when they're all high and just trashing hotel rooms.
I was going to say,
there's something to that.
With Quincy Jones, luckily he was somebody that would not hold back if you actually got him.
You sit him down. You sit him down, and you give him a nice meal, and you talk to him a little
give
bit.
Him a cigarette, give him a little reefer.
He ain't got no problem giving anything unsolicited.
Unloading the clip.
Yes, he don't even think it's unloading the clip. He's like, oh
yeah. By the way,
they were all the dudes were fucking each other. All of them.
Yes.
Excuse me. You like Brazilian music? Yeah, man, everyone knew that. You like Brazilian music? That shit was ridiculous.
Yo, do you like Brazilian music? I'm gonna keep that shit with me for the rest of my life.
That was the funniest fucking thing. Like, cause it was like I didn't know he was still of mind in that way, given his age, to be able to give that kind of information out. And he was like, I don't give a fuck. I'll say that. Yeah. Like, my favorite part was like, because everyone says this, because like, it's a well-known thing to like, for as legendary as the Beatles were, Ringo was a shitty drummer. Like, even on records, it's like a very simplistic drummer. But like, for Quincy Jones to be like, nah, he wasn't just a simplistic drummer. He was a shitty session drummer. We would have he would go out there and fuck up and couldn't keep time of nothing. And we would have people another session drummer come in behind him after he leaves and get him and just replay his shit because he would fuck up so bad. That shit was hilarious, bro. And it was like, it was one interview and there were like 40 tidbits like that in this one interview. All of them were clipped up on Twitter that day. It was incredible.
It was a Vulture interview, I think in like either like 2018 or something like that. Like it literally stopped everyone in their tracks. Like, please seek it out if you haven't. It's like he's gonna tell you just about things and the way life was. There's a great Netflix documentary about him that I watched that he participated in a couple years ago. It pretty much wrapped up, his career between him and the Black Godfather. They both died now. What the fuck was his name? Clarence Avant. Like between Clarence Avant and Quincy Jones, that is the Black Hollywood industry in secret society right there. Like everything rolled up to Clarence Avant and Quincy Jones. He was putting people on like, when you blow up, you got to go see Quincy Jones. Why? Because he's going to tell you the temperature out here, or out there at least, in Hollywood world. And so many people sampled like so many songs of his. Too much to really count, but I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about his work with Michael Jackson, which I think is the, that's a crown jewel, I would say, of his stuff. He did work with Frank Sinatra as well, but most stuff people are going to hear that may have listened to this podcast. Like, we're talking about Off the Wall, we're talking about Thriller, we're talking about Bad. Yeah. And then, like, you can look at Michael Jackson's career as a kid with the Motown factory, right? Mm-hmm. Great shit. Like, and all the musicians they played with. But like when they would put those Michael Jackson single records out, they never really took off like that. And then, like, you know, when the Jacksons got off Motown, they still were making good stuff, but, you know, they were older, you know, they were older teen act, right?
Yeah.
But when it was time for Michael to do his shit, he met Quincy Jones on the set of The Wiz. Because why? Quincy Jones had been scoring movies for like 15 years by that point. So Diana Ross introduces Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson, and literally the rest is history. Like, the disco era, like, Quincy Jones pretty much zips that up and basically was like, I'm going to do it better than anybody else did it, and then we're going to leave it here or whatever. And this is how you do it with this shining star. And I'm going, like, my music is in my instrumentation, and all the music that he had been doing his whole life led him up to being 50 years old around that time and creating the best shit of his life or whatever. And that's Off the Wall. That's Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. That's Working Day and Night. That's all that stuff that's like, oh my God, that's Rock With You. That's just like these timeless songs that you throw on right now, and it's like immaculately produced. And they were producing the old way, James, the real way. You know, they had instruments in their schools, James. They learned, you know, how to play instruments back then.
Their asses were still forced to go to church.
We did not have.
Their asses were still forced to go to church, pick up that piano, and pick up them drums.
Analog, yes.
Yeah.
Learning new technology in real time, working with Herbie Hancock, different shit like that. Then, of course, you know, Thriller. You know, what do you say?
It's like we came up. We may have had the greatest post disco album of all time, and we followed up years later with Thriller, which is like might have the most monstrous A side of an album I've ever heard. Like, for those that are, because we're still at that age where we actually know what an A side is. For those that are younger than us, albums used to come out on vinyl disc, right? 45s, right? And there was a side where, like, the first half of the album would play called the A side, and the back half was the B side. And so, like, yeah, like, when you look up Thriller and you see, let's go through that Thriller discography. It starts with "Wanna Be Starting Something." I know that off the top of my head. Then you get to, I believe, the Ace. Hold on, here we go. Track list. Okay, I'm sorry, it's trying to show me a legacy of the thing. I just want to see the track list. Okay, here we go. Track listing. So yeah, here we go. Side A, "Wanna Be Starting Something." "Baby Be Mine" by Rod Temperton, who another all-time great one, but not Quincy Jones. "The Girl Is Mine," Thriller. Yeah, that's tough, man. And then, like, somehow I'm sorry, I'm in side B. Side B is "Beat It," Billie Jean, "Human Nature," "Pretty Young Thing," and then "The Lady in My Life." All produced except for "Lady in My Life" by Quincy Jones. Man, if you land one "Beat It," if you land one Billie Jean, if you land one "Pretty Young Thing" in a lifetime, you can go out on top. He landed 3 of those on the one side of an album.
Yeah. Like it's for not like you guys all know the songs. When we say the songs, you hear them.
Yeah, like, you know, I personally think the 2 best Michael Jackson songs of all time are "Billie Jean" and "Beat It." They're both on the same side of the album. Forget he played them both on the album. He put on the same side. That's absurd. Like, and then you have the avant-garde stuff. Sorry, I can't say that word. Avant-garde stuff that he did, like the instrumental album that he came out with. That, like, you know, for example, is a sample for "Dead Presidents" being used 1,000,000 times. Like, he has a legacy. Like, you know, he's one of those
"How Do You Want It?"
Elemental forces
That's
of hip-hop.
Quincy Jones right there.
Sorry?
That Tupac, "How Do You Want It?" That's Quincy Jones right there.
He's one of those elemental forces of hip hop. Like, I'm not saying he's James Brown, but below the next notch below that, he's in that pantheon of most sampled, like, artists, producers ever, musicians ever. He's there. Is James Brown at number 1 by a mile, and then everything after that, like, next person you start looking at is people like Quincy Jones.
Then as the technology changes, like the keyboards start coming in, then Bad comes out. I think they were kind of chasing the Minneapolis sound, and they kind of did it in their own way. Still on that album, and that massive fucking album. Like, think about The Way You Make Me Feel, and then see like Quincy Jones crossed like cultures with his music. Like when you drop that out somewhere, right, mixed crowd or whatever, right, like everybody loses their mind with that boom 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 boom. Like, because it's like he's taking elements of swing music, like big beat, like all this stuff, but like repackaging it into whatever was moving him at the moment. Like, he just has so much knowledge that he was putting into those songs. No one could ever basically there is no other person that's gonna come along and be like, yeah, I'm the new Quincy Jones.
No,
that was born in 1980. Like, it's impossible for it to happen.
You want to know the little part about that? Why that's not a thing? Why that can't be a thing? He died. He died at 91 today, right?
Yeah.
His grandfather was a slave. And when people talk about the this was a long time ago, we have motherfuckers that were alive that were touched by people that were still in bondage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, when people talk about the legacy of discrimination and Jim Crow and all that kind of stuff, and apartheid in our American apartheid, is like my grandmother lived in segregation. She died in 2009, but that was the thing. Like, we have parents here that were on buses because of segregation. You know what I'm saying? Like, my stepdad had to be bussed while the busing rides were going on. Like, anyway, but yeah, back to Quincy Jones. Like, yeah, man, like, his crown jewel stuff is Michael Jackson stuff of Michael Jackson's prime. But as you mentioned, like, it is short changing him to only talk about that. We just don't have the scale or the time right now, because we'll be here we could do a Quincy Jones podcast.
Yeah.
If we were to sit down, go over the stuff, go through the stuff. And there will be people that do it. And I suggest it for those that will ever come across those or whatever else. I say check it out, because that's what I'm going to be doing over this next week. And
please feel free to post it in the One Nation Radio Discord channel.
Yeah. Anything y'all see with Quincy Jones, whatever else over the next over y'all time being at me in Discord.
Yeah, for sure. Recipes Quincy Jones, and he a flamboyant, charismatic,
super
just a hilarious, like a star, like
yeah. I mean, he was still involved in music, up until recent. Like the last, was it Don FM? No, the album before Don FM for Weekend. He's doing the intros. No, he's actually on Don FM. So Weekend's last album, right? He's doing interlude, just talking about like how the music business was and whatever. I'm saying, man, cut the bullshit. Just make the record, just make the hot records and make the companies pay for the budgeting. The shit was fucking hilarious. Like,
yeah,
he's in his late 80s talking cash shit. Like,
yeah,
he's great.
Like,
he is great, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so like I spun like an hour and a half of Quincy Jones in the pre-show of this podcast.
You want another hour and a half to do more? Because he has another hour and a half worth of shit.
So yeah, I guess we'll move on.
Did you play anything off the Wiz album?
I was gonna play the Wiz, but I didn't.
But you get my point. I'm just pointing out, like, he has iconic stuff like that.
But yeah, man. Let's move it on forward. James.
Yep.
It has been nearly 11 months since Kenny Omega was involved in being an active professional wrestler.
Huh.
And now, all the way in Shinnehan Pro Wrestling, the best bout machine is risen. We have awaited. We have watched this wrestling business just fall upon hard times. We have watched in silence the Omega Army. We have watched just the world just forget about him. You know, we have watched, you know, this guy get talked about like a dog. We have watched these people try to rehash his importance in New Japan Pro Wrestling historically, just, you know, and on a day-to-day level. He's back, and I'm happy, and I'm excited, and I can't wait. And I can't wait for January 5th when he steps in the ring with Gabe Kidd. And my God, James, I was out here just seeing the angle this morning. Kenny Omega cuts this great promo, welcome back promo. Crowds going nuts, women screaming, incredible reception at Power Struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Does an angle backstage with Gabe Kidd. Gabe Kidd attacks him. Of course, this is a reference from Kenny Omega mentioned Gabe Kidd in a couple of the comeback interviews that he's been doing, you know, for New Japan in the, you know, like the sit downs. They had a Twitter exchange earlier this year, which I'm sure, you know, we can look back on now and be like, oh, this is where this was headed. I was calling him Greg Kidd or Great Kid, which is hilarious. And man, I guess I found out today, James, how many people do not like Gabe Kidd. Because here I am just tweeting about my excitement for seeing this. And I was talking to Josh this weekend, by the way. Josh, all that Okada shit. This man, Josh, taught all this Okada shit just to pop himself for months. I can't wait for Keepin It Strong Style on Wednesday. I was tweeting about, you know, what this reminded me. I was talking to Josh. I was like, yo, there's like an element of like, you know, Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin in 1996. Like, it's this guy, this loudmouth, wild man brawler, calling this guy out.
Versus a young versus an asshole.
Yeah, like calling this guy out, this guy that's a legend, that's from Canada, like that is like, you know, known to be a great worker and all this stuff, has tons of incredible matches or whatever. And he's called out by this abrasive loudmouth guy, essentially, in his a wild fight. And it's like, oh, okay. Like, that's kind of what, you know, and that was an awesome program. I'm not talking about the 97 element, like with all the double turning and all that. You're
talking about Survivor Series.
Yeah, I'm talking about Survivor Series, and then talking about like how beloved Bret Hart was, you know, and shit like that.
Right.
And then, man, the Ko-Fi Twitter, the people with the anime and not showing they self, you know, just lost their fucking minds apparently, while being far outnumbered by people that were positively engaging with it and knowing what I was talking about and understanding the comprehension behind all of this. I was like, huh. So like,
you're pointing out the parallels, not saying that Gabe Kidd is going to be the biggest wrestler in the industry for like 2 years.
I there was that, and then there was like, you know, he's unsafe and all this, and he's gonna do this to Kenny. I'm like, one, Eddie Kingston shouldn't have been doing that move. Like, he had no business out here taking a flip bump over the top rope with near a table near the gate. Like, you too damn big for that, Eddie Kingston. I'm not blaming Gabe Kidd for that. I'm sorry.
Okay, so are we at this thing where if you hurt one person, you've hurt a million? Like,
bro, somebody replied to me that was like, you know, it like basically saying, yeah, that would be the same if, you know, Stone Cold Steve Austin was dangerous and hurt opponents in the ring. I'm like, I'm sorry. Why don't you look up Steve Austin Masahiro Chono and then get back to me? This person never replied to me. So
they probably didn't know that existed. They're probably, wait, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Russell Chono? First off, who is Chono?
Yeah.
What is New Japan? Like, wait, there was New Japan Pro Wrestling back then?
Yeah, like so like Kenny cuts his promo, says New Japan Pro Wrestling is the best pro wrestling in the world. He's signed somewhere else to AEW, but you know, he considers New Japan home and all this stuff, and this goes over really well. Twitter's going crazy, crowd's going crazy. And then, you know, the derangement syndrome sets in, James. It's been a while. I needed a fresh hit of it. I needed a fresh dose of these people acting irrational. You know, about Kenneth J. Omega. Well, like,
is it the same when it's like they upset about the opponent and not actually him though?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, what's wrong with Gabe Kidd? Like, I'm excited about this. I think Gabe Kidd's a good wrestler. People think this guy absolutely stinks.
Do you think it's the thing where, like, the persona, the gimmick is so abrasive, works people the wrong way? Do you think that's what's happened?
That could be it.
Because remember, like, that's
all I know is when that bell rings.
Man, remember, I told you, like, look, man, I don't care how good he is. Like, I'm not like that. That is a grading character. Like, that's what I mean by that. Is like, I know he's a good wrestler. I've seen him wrestle before, but like, does you calling random people pussies, like, at random on Twitter, like, at a certain point, like, people will be like, all right, like, when does the gimmick begin and when does it end? So I can see that being a part of it, and also, you know,
like, we're wasting Kenny Omega matches and all this stuff. I'm like, all right, look, this man is not announced no retirement tour, none of that. He's good to go. He's cleared. I'm going to treat the nigga as such. I'm not going to treat him with kid gloves. Talking about, yeah, there's only 5 available matches, so I'm going to shit my own legs and shit my pants anytime someone gets announced that I don't want in the ring with this guy. Man, fuck off. Like, stop being so possessive and controlling over, like, a booking. It's a match.
Yeah.
It's not like, I don't know. I think people are acting irrational. What would you prefer? For him to wrestle for the IWGP Championship and win? Because I got news for you. If that happened, he's going over. Is that what you want?
I will say this, like, a Saber Okada match, a Saber Omega match would be, I do want to see that. I do want to see that. Like in 2025, I do want to see that. But but I'm with you. Like, I don't want to see that be the main event of the Dome show.
I'm like,
because if he beat that nigga with a one-wing angel in the middle of the ring, look, I can already see the motherfuckers that was upset, you know, years ago. Being upset again.
Look, and I'm ready for the fight. We won last time.
And those people are already sick of, you know, AEW hoeing New Japan, so it only continues that. And it would drive me more nuts. And it would drive me more nuts because, like, the New Japan fans would be happy if he was the IWGP champion again because they miss him. And that would drive me more insane.
I'm like, all fools. Look, be happy. Be happy as Gabe Kidd, right? Be happy is a dude y'all don't even really love like that, right? But
yeah,
I don't know, man. Like, they, you know, one way or the other, they got to catch up. You know, they got to deal with it because the Best Bout Machine is coming back to the Tokyo Dome. So there's no way to ruin that for me. Like, unless you tell me he's going in there with Evil or something. Like, like there's a big difference. He could wrestle Tanahashi. I wouldn't give a fuck. Like, I don't.
Are we still gonna get that tag match? Or are we ever going to? Or no, that's done because Tanahashi's wrapping it up, right?
Yeah, pretty much. They might get in the ring sometime. So I think what's going on is you know, there might be an injury to Nick Jackson with his shoulder or whatever, so like they may have like scrapped that planned tag team match, but yeah, man, like whatever, you know, like I look, I don't want our one man army stand on business about this shit. I don't care about none of these people that's hiding they faces behind you know, anime graphics and Ko-Fi links begging for donations to give matches 3 1/4. Like, I don't give a fuck, bro. Like, yeah, man. So another thing, speaking of people wrestling, the IWGP champion, after Saber's match with Shingo Takagi, Ricochet jumps up on the top rope in some Stacey Adams and does a springboard.
They weren't actually Stacey Adams, he's being a jerk.
I saw Stokely say some shit about that on Twitter.
Okay.
This man jumps up in a dress suit and does a springboard
Yep.
and jumps on Zack Sabre Jr. James. And I'm here to let y'all know Ricochet did that shit for me. Like, he did it for me. Why? Flips, nigga. Flips. Fuck them R bars, nigga. Like,
The funniest part about it was like the crowd was like, oh shit, it's Ricochet. They're happy to see you. We ain't seen you in a minute either. Like, well, then again, he's showing up a couple places in Japan already. But it's like, because he showed up at Glate, right?
yeah.
Yeah, but they were like the New Japan fans. And I think it was the right place to do it because Power Struggle also did the
Osaka.
Super Juniors tag stuff. So it's also like, oh, okay, one of the best juniors we ever had is showing back up. They were happy to see him, and like I want to see that match. That's an interesting match. I wonder how that's going to go.
January 5th is going to be, Zack Sabre still the champion. It'll be Zack Sabre versus Ricochet for the IWGP title, and that should be a fun match. If you inject James, could they have possibly set this up any better for Rich Latta? Kenny Omega's coming back, and then Ricochet jumps out on a nigga at the main event. Are they booking for me, James? Do they want me back, James?
Look, man, I heard good things about Power Struggle. Besides what we already talked about, like I heard this was a good ass show. So
Look,
like I need to actually watch
back?
it. Like the first time I need to watch New Japan since the G1, honestly. So yeah, like I'm in. I'm in to watch
all you got to do
over the week.
All you gotta do is clear them shitters out like Sonata and Evil.
Did you hear about Sonata?
And move all them niggas to the side.
Did you hear about Sonata though?
Yes, that man joined the War Dolls.
Yes,
that man's
he's in the White Boys.
Sub faction now.
Yes.
You are no longer a unit leader.
Rich.
Fuck off.
Technically, him and Evil are back on the same side.
Yeah.
After all that bullshit, which means what? Naito was, as we always said, them dudes were drifting off of Naito's success. They always were. And when they went out there on their own, what happened? Subunits. They signed to a nigga that signed to a nigga that said they signed to that nigga.
Yeah,
yes,
they're all signed to David Finlay in a 360 deal. Like,
yeah. So there you go. And I heard Finlay had a good match the other night or last night. So I'll check that out. So yeah, man. Like I heard some good things about some bright stuff, as opposed to being like they ain't got nobody, like especially because they were harping on like it looks like it should be Umino.
It's gonna be January 4th. Umino versus Sabre.
Yeah. So we'll see, man. We'll see.
Any issue with Kenny Omega doing his return in New Japan Pro Wrestling or whatever, and not for AEW, or do you find that interesting at all?
Do I have issue with it? You asked me if I have issue with it?
Yeah.
No. Because it's January 5th, correct?
January 5th, yeah.
Isn't that a co-branded show that is technically also an AEW show? What's the problem?
You would think, but he returned at Power Struggle, too.
Oh, you talking about that? You talking about, you returned to that? Look, hey, guess what? That promo happened. How many people do you think aren't going to tune in for his AEW return when he does that? 50 people? 50 people be like, oh, I already saw it in New Japan.
It's already been blown off for me.
No one's doing that.
Look,
like no one. That's not affecting the potential of the rating.
Look, speaking as a Kenny Omega fan, until AEW can prove to me that they are going to push Kenny Omega better than New Japan Pro Wrestling does or present him as such, I don't give a fuck how much he works in New Japan. Why don't we just let that keep happening? Because maybe they will actually use this guy up to his potential.
I mean, I ain't got no argument with that. Like my favorite Kenny Omega is still New Japan Kenny Omega. So, let him hang out there for 6 months if he wants to get on the plane. Now, one thing I will say is if he's gonna stick around AEW long enough in New Japan long enough, I need him to promptly go back to being an anime dick. I need him to be an anime asshole, just a villain. I need him to go back to that. But outside of that, we good. You get in, get your first match, your first pop, then go out there and attack Tanahashi, get the heat back, and then we back in business.
Oh man. Just keep David Finlay away from Kenny Omega. I think I'll be all right. Trying to see who's on the no-fly zone for Kenny Omega for me.
God.
Evil, absolutely not.
Yeah, Evil has to be number one with a bullet.
Like Sonata, no, it's a no-go. I think everybody else, or Ren Narita, all House of Torture adjacent motherfuckers.
Yeah, all the House of Torture. Yeah,
keep them away.
Yeah.
Put them in a box. Them niggas are not allowed to show their face backstage when they pull Kenny Omega up to the building. It's like, no, y'all niggas got to go in the broom closet. We don't even want him to walk by y'all and see y'all. You Amora? No. Like, you got to stay away. You know? Who else? Fale. Oh, no, none of that. Bring up Yoda Tsuji. We trying to see that. Hiromu Takahashi, you want to get in the ring? Shingo Takagi, you want to do it? We'll run it back for old time's sake. Kenny Omega, Tomohiro Ishii, let's do it. But we'll see how it all goes.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got next.
Omega Naito, absolutely.
Kenny Omega already won the series, so if Kenny Omega, if Tetsuya Naito would like to ask Kenny Omega for a match,
if Tetsuya Naito would like to have his best match of the year, yeah.
So could you imagine, James, in 2025, Kenny Omega gives him the one wing angel? What I'm gonna do on Twitter? It'll be just like the old days.
Oh my God. Look, this is what I'll say. I ain't gonna say it because then you'll yell at me. I ain't gonna say it. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm moving on. But yeah, man, like I personally think like the best my favorite, or I think the best Omega match I've ever seen that did not involve Okada is the 2017 G1 final with Naito. I thought that match was fucking incredible. Like I think I saw that as my third greatest match of all time in my opinion. Like that match is insanely great. So yeah, like I mean, the year before Naito and Kenny Omega, I had another one in that same realm. So yeah, like he's arguably Naito's best opponent.
Yeah, we'll just we'll let that ride.
I mean, honestly, it's either him or Ospreay.
So last week, people have been waiting for this, and they knew to announce this last Tuesday, and they thought they was gonna escape the wrath of when they should really talk about this shit. But WWE ID. My God. So WWE has got the bright idea to start tagging independent wrestlers as feds, essentially. Like so if you guys somehow hadn't heard about it, they have partnered with several pro wrestling schools, ironically, that have some kind of head WWE legend or active person, these affiliated schools, essentially.
I saw one that was tied to the Seth Rollins Wrestling Academy / CrossFit Gym Idol, and I chuckled.
Yeah. There's them, Booker T Reality Wrestling is like Rikishi's Place in California, the Nightmare Factory down the street from me, and then Elite Pro Wrestling, which is essentially like a descendant of that Killer Kowalski shit, which is like where Triple H comes from. So I was like, oh, I see what they're doing. They're putting like the wrestler up there that whatever is in charge of the school. So my first thought was, wow, they're about to take a bunch of suckers' money that they're going to jack them rates up and then get people in there. But
we're an affiliate.
Yeah. Yep. And then I was like, I just started thinking, James, I went crazy on Twitter the other week, and I was just like thinking about like, yo, they should probably announce the people that are affiliated with WWID, because if they don't, the signs are going to like make themselves abundantly clear, I feel like.
Okay, you want to go into that and explain what you mean?
So like, I originally started with the thought, I was like, imagine like and they got to kind of keep this on the low, right? Like two WWE ID guys run into each other on the independents, and then like they is out here like, hey, you one of them too? I am too. And then it's almost like, whoo, man, I didn't know if I could trust you for a second, bro. Like you out here living fast too? Like,
Oh my God.
their gear would be a little bit too nice. They'd be like, hold on, man. Who Mikaze did this? How you get some Mikaze gear? What's that? What's that? You would think about the theme music, Like, hold on, you got a Def Rebel theme. Where'd you get that from? Who did you talk to? You went to the studio with them? They emailed this?
Why does it sound uninspired but well mixed? What's going on?
Just like one too many headlocks in a match. Certain ways they run the ropes.
I got one better for you. Like, what's gonna happen with this booking for these independent shows when they start bringing people in?
Bro, all the same things that happened in NXT UK that people have their head in the sand and don't want to see it. Just people I'm just disappointed by. Come on, Dave. Talking about we got to see it happen. James, did or did not 1984 All-American Wrestling happen?
It happened.
Did or did not the CWC and the Cruiserweight Classic happen?
It happened.
Did NXT UK and the clear out of the UK Indies happen?
It happened.
What are we doing? We know what this is. However,
was he? Hold on, I haven't listened to it. Like, was Meltzer's head in the sand on this, or was he just like, I'm not gonna say it, I'm not gonna call the bullshit until the bullshit starts happening?
Pretty much that.
Okay, all right, that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Look, but at the same time, I am looking at you like, how nice of you to try to have some integrity on being there. But like, we all know, our antennas are all up, ready for the bullshit. Though we all ready for it. So
there are some other,
ever since AEW like has proliferated and has multiple shows and has ROH, like the American Indies are bombed out and depleted.
I was going to mention that. So it's not like the next super workers have been coming through the Nightmare Factory. It's not like Rikishi is producing, just the next Will Ospreay or Swerve Strickland. Like Kenny Omega's not walking out of the reality of wrestling. Like, so it's like, nah, man, like this will be effective to a point, but ultimately it's going to carve up the wrestling business even more. These aren't even real indies. These are like affiliated wrestling schools that always kind of were that, and they have shows, but it's not like a GCW. It's not West Coast Pro. It's not Defy or anything like that. Like that are
right.
Real indies per se. Like there's no like there's no fear of like whatever, but they are, I don't blame them because they are trying to get in earlier on talent in some way. And this is, in a way, something AEW should have done a long time ago.
Well, my thing is, if you need to get in on talent earlier, then what the fuck were you doing with the PC?
Oh, do you want to bust it open?
Well, my thing is like, if the whole idea of all of this was like, we need, and all the talk they've had over the years and the things they saved to justify the PC is like, we're going to bring in better athletes at base level that come from all these different backgrounds, and we're going to teach them how to wrestle, and we're going to teach them how to wrestle in the way we want them to. And then aside from, and then their hit rate is so poor that now they're going back to the indies, which are now the worst they've been in half a decade because AEW exists and NXT existed before that. Then what do you expect to get?
Yeah.
Like what diamond in the rough do you expect to find here? In all honesty. Is the idea to get like, we need to get like the next Roxanne Perez? Okay.
I think it's telling. Look, I think it's telling when, and our buddy Velkesh brings this up all the time. Is that we look at the WrestleMania shows this year, wasn't like there was like one person on both nights that came directly out of the PC or something like that.
And I'm guessing that was Bianca.
I think so, yeah. And it was like, this thing is like a money loser, and this is a way they're basically like, all right, we're spending way too much
they just
money
released Baron Corbin.
What's up?
They just released Baron Corbin.
They did.
Yeah, after they made him the lead frontman of a heel faction, include Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley in 2018. We said that shit was dumb in real time. This isn't revisionist history. We were like, what the fuck are they doing? They have Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley in this faction, and he's the front man. We called it Corbin Goon.
Yeah. So, like, I think this is like Triple H or whatever the brain trust is being like, yo, we're spending way too much money on this performance center. We're going to cut back. We're going to basically combine it with the UFC Las Vegas thing. I think that's still happening. And that PC will be there as like a museum essentially, or they'll close that shit down. And they'll be like, all right, we're basically outsource this labor to these people we already got under contract with, the wrestling schools like your Nightmare Factory or whatever. We'll build those places up as destinations essentially, and then we'll take the pick of the litter, because every person that's in those schools are not going to be WWE ID people.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, like I see what they're doing, but like I don't think what's going to come in is anything that hasn't already been coming in, because they still have to be able to spot talent. They have to still be able to like find special people and be like, oh, we'll go with you or whatever. Like that's, I don't know. It does make some of them schools though. It'd be like, I don't know how it brings like a conflict of interest, I think.
Yeah.
At a certain point, because it's like, all right, if somebody walks in there, right, and they're like, I have a goal of being a professional wrestler, like, and it's like, do they automatically just steer them toward WWE? Like, probably.
Well, I mean, what happened with the Ben Carter dude?
Yeah, he was from Seth Rollins. Like, imagine like him walking in, like, and he wants to go to WWE the whole time, and it's like, I'm not saying this is a bad thing either. It's just this exists, this will exist or whatever. So like, AEW has to have a either counter to this, or they have to beef up what they're doing, and they have plenty of relationships with international people and different. They got a wink nudge with letting people work in Defy and West Coast Pro and Deadlock, I think. But I think this is a wake up call.
House of Glory.
Yeah, House of Glory. I think this is a AR Fox's school. I think this is a wake up call.
Alive?
What's up?
Is AR Fox still alive?
Yes, he's actually booked to wrestle Nick Wayne. Okay,
that's good. That's good. I feel like ever since they killed the whole thing, and the whole visa thing to the UK like a year or a year and change ago, I ain't really seen him or heard anything about him.
It's been quiet. He fought Ricochet a couple weeks ago. So he might be back in the
Collision or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
He might be back in the mix. But I didn't see Collision.
I gotta check that out.
But I think this is a wake up call for AEW to be like, all right, where are you getting? Are you going to try to get talent also earlier? Like, what are you going to do, like, to counter this? Like, hey, because ultimately, like, they're trying to keep chess pieces off the board.
Yeah. Well, my question is, as you mentioned, if WWE's whole thing is like, we got to get to the guys, we got to get to the prospects that may not even be for us ideally that we will want, but like are people that we think could be better for them for AEW, and therefore we need to like nip that in the bud. Okay, I get that as an anti-competitive strategy, but if they ain't for AEW, they damn sure ain't gonna be for. Or sorry, like if you're trying to find indie talent, they're more likely to be more valuable to AEW than they are for WWE. As far as what WWE looks for in the looks of a professional wrestler. So
I feel like a lot of people are going to get scammed and grifted, and
but it's going to come down to your self-awareness of being like, I look like this, they want me. Or I look like this, they wouldn't want me, therefore I know what the game is. And also, does that come with like, hey, I got a potential to make a check. I don't care. It gets me my foot in the door to network with people that eventually will work on the other side anyway. So I don't care if they can play that game. Cool. I just don't want people to be like, in this era, people be like, I thought I had a chance and then it didn't work out. Whereas like,
yeah, because it's like the overarching influence of WWE will become more prevalent. It's like I want less WWE, not more. Like
I don't care one way or the other, because like these people are going to have to get, or these people are going to have these dreams or want to get this hustle and get this grind on anyway. Hey. So like if there's a check for them to get, go get it.
Darius the God brings a good point. Niggas finna get robbed. Yes, like they're about to sign these slave deals for a whip and a chain. James, they are about to.
No. They're gonna pay. They're gonna pay so they can tat it on their skin. They're not getting no whip and no chain. They gonna be like They gonna show up. They gonna show up to their indie jobs or to their indie spots to go through the walkthrough or whatever else, and they gonna be wearing WWE ID black tees.
Look, they ain't gonna be setting up no merch. They ain't gonna be like, why? I'm on a WWE ID contract that prohibits me from pressing something up off my own name.
Wow.
I don't know how they all work and everything, but if they are the restrictive contracts that this company historically offers,
yeah. Why would they be able to press their own merch? Why would they be able to open up a PWTs?
James, I was told by somebody in the wrestling business, people should not sign these contracts, whatever they are, when it comes out. So stay away from I don't know.
And they're at that level where these people ain't necessarily got lawyers for this.
Yeah. It's going to be a whole lot of control.
You got a point, Rich. You got a point.
This is going to be a whole lot of control, and then you're going to have to ask for everything you do, everywhere you work, and then every opponent, how long before all the finishes are dictated? And is it just okay, I'm just going to work in reality of wrestling only? It's going to literally cut off a journey that guys you want to go to. They be like, yo, I want to work on the West Coast. I want to work all over. I want to get in the car and do. They're going to rob that experience.
I want to get XP.
Right. They're going to rob that experience, or smartly, maybe they can trade between the regions or whatever. Like, hey, Nightmare Factory, I got somebody. I'm going to send them to Iowa or whatever. I'm going to take the big man from Rikishi. I'm going to bring them over here to the Northeast or whatever. And then I'm going to take the Northeast dudes. I'm going to bring them down to Texas or whatever with Booker T. That would probably be the best kind of way to where they could work in front of different places. They can do this stuff. But even though all these affiliates are psyops, they're not real indies anyway.
So here's my question, right? If you were to do this for WWE in a non-cynical way, right? Wouldn't this be an opportunity for them to be able to put people that are on level up, or people that have very limited match counts, onto indie shows that these small indie shows no one's really paying attention to, they could actually run?
Yes.
As opposed to the only thing you get is or you're
because they're not gonna run NXT house shows really much anymore.
Right. That's what I mean. Or even if they were still running like they used to back in the day, be like, you're a level up person. You're not gonna be on this anyway. So I mean, there is a potential where they could do that to help their wrestlers, but even if that is a thing they do, they're definitely doing both. It ain't gonna be one without the other. And the one that's gonna be most important is gonna be, we're trying to get in on trying to cut some of this stuff off before it even happens. For this anything to happen. And I'm just I don't see the need for it. It's because
I think it's gonna save them a lot of money.
Don't you think? If you're WWE, right? If you want to keep NXT, because obviously they're getting a check for CW, whatever else, good for them. Your next superstar that's that's a person that's going to become a top babyface, they're in AEW right now. Probably. They're not going to be on the indies. They're going to be in AEW.
More than likely, they are already in AEW. Yes. Right.
So it's going to Kyle Fletcher, Will Ospreay. It's going to be it's going to be some shit like that where there's going to be another big person that's getting, significant TV time is going to also go. So like, I don't necessarily see them as having a need for this.
I really think it's about saving money for them. And they're like, we can outsource this stuff. We can make these places like more valuable kind of. And what they're trying to do is co-opt street cred from these places from people that don't know any better and be like, but like the clued in wrestling fan is not going to see the WWE ID guys as like, oh, they're indie superstars. It's like, no, they are federal informants. Like they're.
Are you think that the way the indies have? Do you think people aren't clued in? I think the American indies has been so bombed out and depleted over the last 5 years that nobody even has that. We'd be like, yeah, I would like. Where can you go and be like honestly, forget like the WWE part. Where can you go in the American indies right now and get some street cred? Is like, yeah, that's the next indie darling. Where can you go? Is it Defy and PWG and that's it? And maybe GCW?
Defy and West Coast Pro, maybe GCW.
But is that like is that somebody just like they show up and they ball, or do you have to have a name? Like, do you have to be Takeshita to do that? Takeshita does that, but he's Takeshita.
Yeah.
He was already one of the best wrestlers in the world before then, anyway.
PWG's on hiatus. Because like there's a guy like Titus Alexander, right, who's raw as fuck. I don't know if you ever heard of him, right? I saw him wrestle Swerve before in Defy, whatever. He's kind of like a homegrown guy there. What he ended up doing, like Noah ended up picking him up and bringing him over. Like, and it's like what's gonna happen with like a lot of these people is like, is Titus Alexander not signed to NXT? Not sure.
Isn't there a guy in NXT that got sent over? I'm not talking about Regal's kid. Wasn't there somebody else that was in NXT that got sent over to Noah, got over, and then like brought him right back? He ain't really do much.
Tavion Mitchell. I think.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking of. Yep.
But like it's like back to Titus Alexander. So like he got sent over to Noah, and then he also like got working like Ring of Honor, and then also squash matches in AEW. Right now, if you're WWE, right? Like, how do you be like I don't know how you're gonna get to Titus Alexander, pretty much. Mm-hmm. So, and I don't know if Titus Alexander is necessarily a wrestler that they would be interested in pushing. He's just young, so I don't know, man. I
think is like you mentioned, like
Tavion Heights. Excuse me, not Mitchell.
Okay. That's another thing you mentioned. Is like, yeah, man. Like these people are like. These people aren't going to make to their main roster or whatever no time soon. Those people need to go to AEW first to get before they even come on the radar, because like they ain't push you until you 30 or 35 in WWE right now.
Look, and there's not enough matches or spots.
How old is Montez? Ain't he in his early to mid 30s?
I think Montez is a bit younger than you might think.
Maybe I'm thinking that because I believe Bianca's she's in her mid 30s.
He is 34.
All right, so he's basically like, wait, is he Swerve's age?
Pretty much.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe like a year younger or so.
Yeah. There you go.
So like those guys they are subtly speaking up between him and Angelo Dawkins.
That's why I brought him up, because like they were talking about that push for him 2 years ago.
Yes.
He's 34 now, and the push still ain't there.
So, like, by the time the push is taking hold, how long is that going to be?
Well, I mean, did he got some Samoan in his family?
Afraid not. Maybe he should lie. Say, hey, I was, Rocky Johnson was my great uncle, nigga.
We want the smoke, Oos. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, there are people that check off all the things WWE wants, right? Like charismatic, stereotypically handsome, great mic presence, dresses like a star, carries himself like a star, right? Does the media stuff, is camera friendly, all that kind of stuff. Already has connection with the crowd, already over with the crowd to a certain extent, right? Super athletic, has all that stuff. Just ain't happening yet. For whatever reason.
I'll let you tell it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, man. So James, you watched Crown Jewel.
Yes, I did watch Crown Jewel
What
2024.
First off, what were you thinking? Like,
Okay, so
were you that bored?
Well, honestly, yes, because Saturday's college football slate was really weak. Like, the only game worth a damn was Penn State, Ohio State. Or Ohio State, Penn State. Right? So, and then after that, it was a bunch of like, bro, they were playing, it was Tennessee, Kentucky, at fucking 7 o'clock. You know what I'm saying?
Kentucky football.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to watch Kentucky football at 7 p.m. on a Saturday. Not doing it. Right? It was a week slate. So that's the reason. I think there's another reason why they say like we're going to run Crown Jewel. Like, this is a week slate. We can get it. We will not get embarrassed here. And also I saw the card. I was like, on paper, this should be a good card.
Unfortunately, them cards not wrestled on paper, James. So
right.
Did it live up?
That's always the thing. But I will say, like, the floor for most of these matches were better than I was expecting. Like, nothing peaked high at all. But, like, there was another match I was like, oh yeah, this is awful, except for, obviously, the women's title match.
James, is this another example? Like, I heard, as you know, it would take a lot to get me to watch one of these Saudi shows. They gave Liv Morgan that belt, and then she cried.
Rich, she cheated repeatedly with Dominic and with Tiffany Stratton's Money in the Bank briefcase and with Raquel. And then when she got the belt, she cried.
This is a true testament to Liv Morgan will never win. It's one of the 5 greatest things I've ever said on this show, James.
Rich,
it just keeps proving.
I was saving this for the review, but the part where but we can get to it now.
Yeah.
The part where she's already the champion, the top women's champion on Raw. That's worthy of crying over, right? Like, I worked this hard. I've been, I've been moved around or whatever else. I've won the belt. I'm happy. I'm in Saudi Arabia winning a fake belt and for an basic exhibition match that we put out of nowhere, and you crying. What is wrong with you? And I'm a heel doing it. Yeah. I'm not an underdog babyface. I cheated. I won honestly a 3.5 versus 1.5.
Got a star rating?
1. And I rarely give matches 1s flat. That shit sucked.
That is bad.
Yeah,
and just to check, this wasn't no ironic kind of crying for a heel, was it? Like,
no, this wasn't no Alexa Bliss con you and then cut a promo saying that I'm actually evil. No, she was
genuine.
This was not Liv Morgan crying. This was whatever her real name is crying. Because why would Liv Morgan cry there?
Man,
she got caught up in the moment and cried. And like people probably were like, oh, whatever. I'm like, it's an exhibition match. I will say this though, quite interesting. In this heel versus heel match, they were rooting for the Saudi crowd was rooting for the tiny white girl. That happened. Shocker, right?
I was gonna say not shocking at all. Like,
yeah. Even while cheating with Dominic and Raquel.
So take me through from the beginning to the end.
All right. So the opener was the Bloodline versus the original Bloodline.
Fuck.
Now I saw people arguing about like whether that should be the main event, because this is the thing that people care about the most. No one cares about Gunther and Cody. It's all about the Bloodline. And that shit came out as the opener. I was unaware of like the match placement until I watched it on Saturday. Man, I saw that, I fucking howled. I was like, all this shit y'all was talking, all of the Bloodline meet or profiles or whatever else. Nope, opener. I will say this: these Samoan tag matches, They all need to be openers. Wonder why? Because
Why?
they don't get main event time or main event length. They don't go 40 minutes. This match went 16 minutes. You know what's worse? You know what's worse than a 16-minute Samoan tag match on pay-per-view, Rich?
What?
The ones that go 35 minutes. This match, I shit you not, Rich. Like, I actually was like, okay, this match isn't awful. They did, and look, as I say this, they did most of all the same shit they normally do in all the matches, right? Like, but I do like the dynamic of Jay Uso. He wants to be equal to Roman. Roman is saying, I will be equal with you. Roman is actually playing his part. He's actually being a team player. And Jay is still traumatized by how he was treated for a decade. I'm sorry, during the entire Biden administration. And don't want to tag him in. He only wants to tag his brother. And ultimately, that is the beginning of the end of what will cost them. Bro, I couldn't believe
the way you made that shit sound, it was like Roman Reigns handed little brother the controller and say, "Hey, you could play too," or whatever. But that shit unplugged. Like, come on and join me.
Roman, bro, they basically let Jimmy be the person to get his ass whooped throughout the whole match.
I was gonna say, what were the Jimmy Uso minutes looking like?
Jimmy was out here getting his Nassapoi and Donald Armando on. Like, he's out there just eating the ass whooping, and he's like, you know, tag in Jay, tag in Roman. Bro, also, I gotta point this out. Look, man, I know we give the Yeet Man shit because he's not a singles wrestler. He may not be a singles wrestler, but he's the most over motherfucker in the company.
Wow.
Rich, he's legitimately the most over motherfucker in the company. Bro, I don't think I've seen a babyface crowd reaction in WWE since, like, bro, when they do the Yeet shit, when they do all that, bro, it's the biggest thing the WWE's had since, like, the Yes chant. I shit you not.
Crazy.
They fucking love the dude. I'm not joking. I'm not trying to make no joke. I'm not trying to belittle no one in the past. Obviously, you had 2018-19 Becky Lynch, but they fucking losing for this dude, and they're all in on the dude. Like, if this were a different era, he could have, like, the spot that I will say this. The spot that they gave Sami Zayn in Montreal a couple years ago, like, when they talk about the main event Jey Uso shit, Jey Uso could, like, I know they did it and it sucked, but, like, if it was against someone besides Roman this time, he can legitimately be a title challenger for a pay-per-view, and no one would, like, bat an eye because of how over he is. Now, once the bell rings, whole different discussion, but you get my point. Anyway,
good for the Yeet Man.
Yeah, good for the Yeet Man. Good for the Usos. Like, Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame, like, legacy. That, like, hey man, they might get in. If they get in, it's gonna be because of the Yeet Man. It's not.
Bro,
it's
I
not
would
because
have never
of the
seen this
Usos.
coming. I would, like, Jimmy Uso was going off a cliff, like, and then the Yeet Man just said, "I'm the man now." Who saw this coming?
Matt Jackson. Sorry, Nick Jackson. No, listen to me.
Don't do it.
Nick Jackson, Jeff Hardy, the Yeet Man, Shawn Michaels. Like, it's become one of those, like, these guys are, like, you know, you can say if you want to, they're a legendary tag team. There's one above all in this point. There's one above all where, like, there's one guy that was clearly above the other one. And he has distanced himself substantially from Jimmy Uso over the last year and change. 2 years, whatever you want to call it. Definitely.
So the Good Bloodline lost this match.
Yes, Rich. Now, when I saw this match, I was like, oh, okay, well, New Bloodline needs to win. That makes sense. Separate rematch where the baby faces win. They lose because they just finally get reformed after all this time. They still have some turmoil and some, you know, and they still have to smooth over the rough patches over the years of abuse and psychological terrorism from Roman Reigns. Makes sense. So my thought was just, I'm treated just like a regular old Japanese tag match. Like, all right, Jimmy Uso's taking the pin here. No, bro. Jacob Fatu cleared out the Usos, and then he made an assist on Solo Sikoa in the ring with Roman Reigns, and then Solo Sikoa hit that man with 2 spikes and pinned Roman Reigns, and I was like, what? I'm like, okay.
Flabbergasted.
I would expect that. Like, it is like, if this wasn't his cousin, this ain't the finish. This is not the finish if this isn't his cousin. So congrats on nepotism.
Man, Solo Sikoa must be stopped, bro. This is getting disgusting at this point now.
It is.
This is getting disgusting.
Okay,
this
so
is sick.
In the two, so it was Jacob Fatu and it was Tama in there with him. So it's like those are clearly the 2 best ones. And it's also for me, it's also funny. It's like, Tama, I was like, it's probably too late for him to get to WWE, but at this stage, at the babyface run he had in New Japan, he'd be a good babyface. And like what they do after all them years in New Japan of being a heel, and then he finally gets over really big as a babyface, and the crowd loves him. He goes to WWE, they put him right back to being a heel. So it's like, fuck.
Said, nigga, you are a wild Samoan. Like, you know the script here, historically for your family. You know what you are, or allegedly your family. Also,
Cole on commentary talked about it. He was like, he referred to Tama and Tonga as the Tongans. He mentioned it. He mentioned that they ain't really in that family. They just Pacific Islanders. They mentioned it. They were talking about like, why is the coincide with the Tongans? I was like, whoa. I thought y'all was still pretending. Okay. I appreciate how brave of you to be honest that these motherfuckers are actually related. How brave of you. How brave of you to not brave of you. How bold of you to know that your fan base is so racist they will not give a fuck about that. They be like, oh, they all whatever.
They all the same,
Whatever. How many miles were the islands away from each other? It's all the same shit.
Send it in.
Yeah, terrible. So, wow, I am not reading that slash thighs. That is insane. but yeah, man, I actually like that match was like approaching 3 stars as opposed to when I normally like, yo, these matches are awful. These matches are like 2-star matches to go 30 minutes. So this was refreshing compared to it's expectations, right? It's like I expected bullshit. I just got an average, above average match. So I was happy. So
what else?
Post match, they're going to run the beat down because obviously they had the 3-on-4 advantage out there with Tongalo out there, and so Sammy runs out. They end up clearing the ring and leaving Solo Sikoa in the ring in the middle with the Usos, Sammy, and Roman all in the corners, ready to whoop that ass. And they had in opposite corners, they had Sammy and Roman. Roman said something to go charge up for the Superman punch. Solo ducks out the way, and he runs right into a haluva kick from Sammy. So that's the next step is the Roman Sammy stuff. Because Jay is back with Sammy as far as like, we're cool again. But now they have to bridge that gap of, can we get Sammy and Roman back on the same page in time for Royal Rumble so we can go ahead and get this big dub over, Timu Bloodline. So that's a new thing. So they've done it. Look, Rich, the wrestling don't matter, man. They got the story, and they all in on the story. They captivated by the story. They are on the edge of their seats for the rest of the story. And it's just as simple as that, as I explained it. That's exactly what they finna do. They just finna run that for the next month, get that win back, and then they'll get themselves a Royal Rumble from there. You do what you want when you popping.
Yeah. I feel nothing for this. So, yeah.
Yeah. I enjoy the part where it's like, it's so predictable, and I'm listening to this crowd lose their minds for every predictable thing. It's like, I feel like I'm watching 80s wrestling at this point. It's so predictable. It's like, I wonder if Hogan's going to beat the Foreigner.
Right.
Yeah. So, next match you get out of that is the women's 4-way tag match. Rich?
Has Jay gotten any better?
Forget that part. Last Legend. I was unfamiliar with her game. I heard things about her not being, I remember seeing her a couple times. I never saw her, I guess, like, next to another wrestler for scale or whatever else.
James, they should never stand Jade Cargill next to her.
Oh, they did in Rich. I gotta say, and there was a point where they built towards them having a confrontation in the match, and they went out there and they was out there throwing blows. Look, big forearm shots, big overhand chops. Rich, I need to see this match whatever happens now. They was in the thumping, Rich. I shit you not, they was in the thumping. If I show you the 20 seconds of this shit, you'd be like, that looks like good wrestling for 20 seconds. It's 20 seconds. You ain't fooling me, but I was captivated by 20 seconds. Also, Rich, I'm gonna read down this list. of these 8 women. Read down this list. Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, Io Sky, Kairi Sane, Jakara Jackson, Lash Legend. That's a lot of talent. That is a lot of talent in that ring.
Anyone, any kind you want. That's all there.
So
whatever you're looking for.
Look, man. God bless Io and Kairi. They went out there and they basically had to be the Stardom Bomb Angels in this match. They was running around doing the big bumps and all that kind of stuff. Bianca was in there. They started the match with Io and Bianca. And that was fun because they're always great together. And then Kairi got in there and she ran wild a little bit and bumping around. But there was a spot where they had Jakar was in the ring with Kairi, and then Lash Legend was behind her. And Lash Legend literally just grabbed Kairi by the waist and lifted her up and put her on her shoulders. There are all sorts of inappropriate things I was going to text you. I decided not to. I left it alone. But the point still stands. It was impressive. Very impressive. And what led to it was basically like an alley-oop sit-out powerbomb from throwing, basically, Lash Legend throwing Kairi into Jakara Jackson for it was impressive. But
did any of those statements include the phrase "drop the tape"?
Sorry,
just said, did any of those statements that you didn't say to include like "drop the tape" or?
So as far as the match goes, this match overachieved. This was like a bad version of a Stardom Party match, and by bad I mean it's not as good. But like this. I thought this match could have been a disaster. This match was fun to watch. It was worth it. The crowd was into it. They did a bunch of spots. Nobody looked bad in the match. They had some comedy in it with Chelsea Green and Piper Niven having malfunctions at the junctions and like Chelsea being a coward. But like this match was fun. At the end, Bianca and Jade won. They retained their titles. And I was like, for all the stuff I have seen of like Lash Legend when she started out being a bad wrestler, being awful, she did not embarrass herself in this match. She actually looked impressive. She's like a power wrestler. She looked like a motherfucker that should have been in like American Gladiator. Quite honestly, if you saw her bodysuit and the hair she had on and the hairstyle, she looks like somebody that was out here beating women up in the joint back in the spandex and all that kind of stuff. It was actually fun. So yeah, man. By that point in time, I was like, I'm watching this match. It's like, you need to tell me you got a good match out of all this with inexperience, all that kind of stuff, and the weird stuff with Chelsea and all the stuff you have to do with the characters or whatever to make it fit. And then you're gonna do the quote unquote real match is Liv Morgan versus Nia. This is fucking embarrassing. You have Io, Kairi, and Bianca doing this. It's just embarrassing.
Crazy.
So I think I gave it 3.25, 3 stars. I can give it 3.25. So then next match, Seth Rollins versus Bronson Reed. They showed a video package showing all of the push of Bronson Reed, of him having the monster matches with Braun Strowman, showing like the Seth or getting injected into it, showing that like he's basically a movie monster. Like Seth kind of, kills him here and there, and he just rises up every single time. So Bronson Reed comes out last. They fight up on the halfway up the ramp. They go up towards the ramp. They tease like they're going to do like a DVD or like a diving powerbomb off the top of the ramp. They fight back down, and then like it turns into Seth. Seth is outpowered. He's selling his ass off. He's getting thrown around a little bit. He keeps firing up whatever else. At one point, he looks dead to rights, and he's like, "You gotta take more than that." You start big slapping Bronson Reed in the face. Slaps him one more time. Bronson Reed clotheslines the shit out of him. It was hilarious. And then from there, Seth basically lucks into a win. Like he gets hit. Like I think in the build they had Bronson Reed hit him with like 6 straight tsunamis.
Mm-hmm.
So he hits him with one. He goes for a second and he rolls out the way. And then he never was able to hit another one after that. Early in the match, because they brawled so much outside the ring beginning. Like it seemed like this match is going, once the bell rings, they're going to just go straight to a finish. So like that's what they set up with the first tsunami. Like the second one's going to finish. Seth was able to get out of the way. So at the end of the match, Seth looks like he's done for. Seth is able to get out to the floor. Bronson Reed blows his stack because he got slapped on a little bit, and he grabs in the top steps, and Seth Rollins basically kicks his leg out. He basically like drops these steps in Bronson Reed's head, hits the steps, and then Seth curb stomps him into the steps. So he beats the 10 count, curb stomp immediately. Bronson Reed gets up so fast or starts getting to getting his bearings that like Seth can't even get a cover. Seth goes to the top rope, hits a top rope curb stomp and gets the win there. And then like Seth is celebrating and Bronson Reed is already back on his feet while Seth is outside, and Seth making the face like, what the fuck? Like horror movie villain shit. It's like that feud ain't done to have another one, and I think Bronson Reed gets the W in the second one, but like they're giving Bronson Reed something, and this match was actually fun. I'd probably go 3.5, 3 3/4. And it was like, my whole thing was like, how do you make this match be exciting? Because like Seth Rollins can't give him a Falcon Arrow. But what they did was they had Bronson Reed give Seth Rollins a top rope superplex. So that's how they did it. That's like gotta get in there somehow. But yeah, man, good match. Then you get the worst match on the card. Liv Morgan and Nia Jax. We already went over. I'm not reviewing it again.
Miles away, I could tell this is gonna be shit.
Yeah. Crowd did not give a fuck.
Look, the Saudi brothers over there on to something with this one.
Crowd did not care until like the bullshit started happening, which I mean that's what they've been trained to do watching these Liv Morgan matches. So, early in the match, I think it only went like 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes, something like that. But like early in the match, first third of the match, they're both down on the mat, and they hit the Tiffy time music. Like Tiffany's going to tease like she's going to run a cash in, and Nia gets outside to her and says, "What are you doing? This ain't the time for that." I was like, she's trying to cash in. She ain't trying to hear that. So then from there, the bullshit ensues. Everybody's like, who's going to screw who? Is she going to, all that kind of stuff. Ultimately, it leads to Nia kicks out of a million of Liz moves with distractions and all that kind of stuff, interference, attacks. Ultimately, she hits her move and gets the win, and like she starts crying. So yeah, that sucked. LA Knight, United States triple threat match with Andrade and Carmelo. Bro,
James, I have something to point out before you even begin.
Go ahead.
So, I've been made aware these gentlemen, Andrade and Carmelo, were wrestling a best of 7 match or series that they didn't tell anybody about until the 7th match. Right.
That was in the video package. Yeah.
So somehow LA Knight then was inserted on this, and I heard LA Knight went over on this. So that's right. These 2 men of color bust their ass for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks to lead to LA Knight getting over.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say like the winner of Game 7 was LA Knight. That's what I was gonna say. But yeah, man, the winner of their feud was LA Knight. Look,
that's hilarious.
Rich, when you watch this match, if you ever watch this match, just that the synopsis you just gave, as far as these people of color do all the work. I'm not saying LA Knight got carried here, but what I'm saying is LA Knight got in where he fit in, and what he decided was, I'm going to do the 5 or 6 things that I'm good at with interjecting here, but this is clearly the Carmelo and Andrade Athletics show, and I am not that kind of athlete.
I mean, look, The Rock told us a long time ago, sometimes you got to know your role, and who LA Knight want to be. The Rock.
No. I'm pointing out, like, when you watch it, clearly the way this match is, like dissecting it, what is happening. This match was fucking good. They're doing all types of three-way spots. Look, I'm not, obviously, we're in the afterglow of what Takeshita and Ospreay and Ricochet did a month ago, whatever else. But this was a solid-ass, good-ass three-way match. And, like, Andrade still got, obviously, Carmelo, the person is, like, just getting up to the main roster or whatever else, getting on the pay-per-view or whatever else, had a really good showing. Him and Andrade have great chemistry. And LA Knight, he took advantage of it. Like, the whole finish is Carmelo Hayes runs off the ropes. He goes for the crazy tilt-a-whirl DDT, like the Orange Cassidy special.
Yeah.
And then as he lands on his feet, instead of hitting the DDT, he lands on his feet flat, and like LA Knight just rolls in the ring and grabs him and hits the blunt force trauma, and then, like, because he's connected to Andrade takes it like he's taking the DDT, and he pins Carmelo. He gets out of there. He stole the victory off of that. The shit looked cool. But also, it's also like when Moxley hit Action Andretti, it was like, you doing all that flippy shit? Fuck that. Hold this elbow. It's the same thing, like, you doing all that flippy floppy shit? Hold this finish and I'm gonna win. You fucking geeks, you goofballs, you clowns, you acrobats, you circus freaks. But yeah, man, LA Knight, big over. Like, and as you mentioned the thing with when we talked about the match with Logan Paul. He has good matches on pay-per-view.
Good for him, man.
He consistently has good matches on pay-per-view. Me and you both like him, regardless of his age and all that kind of stuff. Like, in the old school sense, he's a solid wrestling act.
Look, just be right in the middle, man. Just like, it's like you ain't necessarily meant to be the man or having the big main event. Just come out there and give me something decent.
He's charismatic. He talks shit, like, and he has good matches and he works hard.
Yeah, head on him.
That's all you can ask for. I mean, obviously you can ask for more, but I'm not finna dog no dude that I see you out here working hard and is actually, like, over and actually is, like, a good promo and all that kind of stuff. And it has good, interaction with people. I ain't dogging him. So, then you get a match that got waved off. Randy Orton and Kevin Owens was a smoz. They come out. The second most over person of the night was Randy Orton. Saudi Arabia loves that man. They was out here singing, I hear voices that hook. They was singing that shit like motherfuckers singing Judas in 2019 through 2022.
Wow.
And Randy Orton, when he realized he had them singing his hook, he soaked every inch of that shit up. Bro, he got to the top of the ramp. I hear voices, hears a crowd chanting that shit, sit there and let the crowd chant. Then this motherfucker, Rich, I shit you not, this motherfucker got normally he gets to the top rope.
And he walked?
He walked. When I say how slow he walked, by the time they got to the hook again, after the first time the hook happened, the second time the hook came around, he was on the apron. And then they chanted. Then he waited again so the hook could come back so he can get on the top rope to do his pose. And then as that happened, like halfway into it, Kevin Owens came attack the nigga with a chair, and then they start brawling all around the arena. They start beating up security. They start beating up officials. Adam Pearce, he got RKO'd. Jamie Noble, he got stunned. And then they end up brawling over towards the production section, towards the hard camera side. And then Kevin Owens ended up hitting a top rope elbow because Kevin Owens, at this stage of the game, all he does is jump off shit, right? Like the last 2 years of his career, he jumps off shit. So he ended up hitting a top rope not top rope elbow, like an elbow through tables off of like the top of a guardrail onto Orton to get this out further to when they have a match at, I guess, Survivor Series or something like that. But yeah, man, it was a success. It was fun. It was one of the things where he's like, they're brawling, and you were like, get out the way, geeks. I want to see them beat each other up. This was successful. But no match rating because it wasn't a match. They threw the match out before the bell even rang. So then you get the main event. Cody versus Gunther. A match, an official match I've been anticipating. They showed on the video package how they have faced off each other in the last 2 Rumbles. Gunther has been outdone by Cody. Talked about their runs to their belts. Cody talked about and said, like, earlier in the show, like, you know, there is that talk of, like, you know, whoever wins the Rumble this year, like, if Gunther were to beat me, like, there is that question of what title should the person go after if they win the Royal Rumble, if Gunther were to beat me. So they start off the match with technical wrestling, and then from there it turns into the match you expect. Big guy, small guy selling his ass off. Hope finishes, Hope spots from there on out. Gunther consistently getting chokes on him, putting it on him, putting big chops on him at times. I don't like how he's saving chops now. Like, he's saving chops and then, like, surely he does with kicks, but it's not as effective. But this match, there was a point where, like, Cody fires up and it goes in close stretches, and that's when the match, like, gets great for me. So the ending is, after all of the false finishes that Cody is in near escapes, Cody's tried to get out of here while Gunther has hit him with a bunch of different power bombs, stacked them up, big clothesline, stacked them up, big chokes where Cody sold like he was going to tap out. Bozeman got to the ropes. Cody goes for a Cody cutter. Gunther slaps him midair, snatches out the sky, puts him into the choke again, and WrestleMania 8 finish Bret Hart Piper. Gets the flash pin. Gunther begrudgingly shakes his hand. Cody wins. They bring out, I don't know, the Shake. I don't know who that is. Bunch of people. Like, they was rich as fuck with Triple H.
Oil money.
Yeah. Brought out Triple H. Brought out Live Begin. They took the pictures. They let off fireworks. I
believe there's a Busta Rhymes song that describes the status of their financial situation.
Yes. They are rich as fuck. Whoever
don't say it.
Were. Yes, I know what you're saying. I'm not going to say it. I'm not saying it. But yeah, let off a bunch of pyro. People left happy. Bro, when they started this match, the crowd was losing their shit for this match. Like, this was their WrestleMania. That crowd was losing for this match beginning.
I mean, look, they put more than 5 matches on this show.
Yeah, they did. But yeah, this match is really good. I might give it 4. I really like the end of this match a lot. Like, I might go shorter just because, like, the beginning of the match was not 4-star, not great, but like it got great by the end. So yeah. But as I mentioned, like, nothing peaked. Like, there's nothing that I'm saying, oh yeah, that's 4.25 or none of that shit. A lot of that shit was just in the road quality wrestling. And at this stage of the game, that ain't good enough if you're watching a lot of wrestling outside WWE. But for WWE, I enjoyed it, especially compared to the last pay-per-view they had, that Bad Blood shit outside of the opener.
Yeah, that Bad Blood was atrocious, boy.
Outside of that opener, it was ass. A 2-pack of ass.
That shit was bad news.
Yeah. But I want to see another Gunther and Cody match. And, like, I think they set this up where it's like, they told the story of, like, Gunther cannot get one over on that dude. And when Gunther finally beat that dude, he's going to brutalize him. He ain't going to beat the piss out of him.
Do you think that Cody gained anything from this?
Another quality pay-per-view match that he keeps having pretty much on these shows. Except when he's tagging with the Samoans.
It's like we already see that Gunther belt is a fake world belt, right?
Well, so we saw that when the first champion was Seth.
Right, and they never fix it. Like they never
How can they fix it?
They never try to make it equal.
But how can they? It's the Raw. It's a Raw belt. We know. We're not dumb.
Yeah.
We know the top champion in this with the belt that is the belt that either Roman Reigns or Cody has. We know that. That's not nothing they can fix.
Amazing. Yeah. All right.
I mean, look, if you want to put it on Jey Uso, you might. Rich, when you see this issue, you could be like, because you know how like of late I've been like, bro, they be reacting to this Roman Reigns issue like he's God himself coming down. Look, man, if Roman Reigns is God, then Jey Uso is the Holy Spirit when he come out.
Holy shit.
They losing their shit for this man. Look, it's just me, Us, and the whole crowd rocking, doing all of this yeet shit, all of it, losing it for this man. They love him some Jey Uso. The kids love Jey Uso.
Amazing.
I don't know if you saw this. You know who the top merch seller in the company is right now?
I know who it ain't.
It is Jey Uso. And WrestleNomics reported this. WrestleNomics said he is selling more merch than Roman and Cody combined right now.
That's
insane.
Unfathomable. That's unfathomable.
Insane.
It's like what is wrong with these people? Like what has happened? Like,
you know what it is?
This fan base is turned over.
Rich.
This fan base is turned over completely.
Yeetism. It's a thing. It's real. The Yeetism is real, Rich.
I will never believe. I saw WrestleMania this year.
Rich, I know.
This is absurd. This is ridiculous.
I know. I am not arguing that he's a main event wrestler. I am arguing that he is over like a god right now.
This is.
He is at worst the third most over person in that company right now, as far as crowd reaction. Absolutely.
That's crazy.
Like when we were a year ago when they did that shitty SummerSlam match, we were like, get this shit out of here. We're a year and change. We're like 14 months past it. That didn't stop him. He's gotten more over since then.
You would have think like in traditional pro wrestling, his push would have died a death. He would have been killed dead at Summer 2023, and no one would ever like.
We've seen many greater wrestler not survive that kind of performance. Have someone
do it again, James. Look, at WrestleMania,
people will pull. Yes. People would have pulled a plug on that shit after WrestleMania and SummerSlam, or SummerSlam and WrestleMania, right? They would have pulled a plug on it. Somehow, some way, not only has he survived it, he has gotten stronger from it.
Amazing. What if he
can't stop now? The whole city behind him.
Look, what if he decides to have good matches, James?
It's over. He land him a 3.5-star singles match. It's over for y'all. I'm telling y'all right now.
They gonna say it's match of the year, James.
I'm not gonna say that, but I'm saying if he land him a 3.5-star singles match on one of these big 4 pay-per-views, it's over. He will get the belt. You know I was joking like the Gunther shit with Randy Orton and the Kevin Owens shit right now. I was like, look, man, you know how we was joking last 2020, like Randy Orton, as good as he was doing with Edge and with McIntyre, he can get himself another title run. He did. Let him have a successful singles program in this bitch. He will get that belt. Or one of them top belts on one of them shows. Watch. It will be all Samoans all the time.
Dr. Larry Rock is about to ask to work with Jey Uso instead. Oh my god.
If you work with Jey Uso, he ain't got to worry about trying to give Cody a win back. He get a match people that people lose their minds for, and he know he ain't got to worry about laying down his shoulders for Jey Uso.
Oh my god. This is sick. Now,
look here, Dr. Larry. You said something, and you didn't realize you were saying something.
This is disgusting and hilarious at the same time.
Yes. And Rock be like, look, Jay, I'm gonna put you on. Like, I give you the exposure of you getting to wrestle The Rock, the most electrified man in sports entertainment, the most electrified man in entertainment.
Now I can hear the griff now.
Yeah. Look, it's Jey Uso. He'll do it. He don't give a damn. Because Jay Uso the kind of over where it's like, them losses ain't gonna stop nothing. He ain't Intercontinental champion no more. He's over like that, bro. It don't matter. It don't matter. It don't matter. He's at that stage where you have to do something really, really, really drastic to fuck it up at this point.
James, they had the man's own brother turn on him before, man. Like,
right. They mentioned it on the show, like, this is the first time in like 14 months that the Usos have wrestled together. They talk about how, like, that's insane for such a legendary tag team. And I was like, you got a point, because that was real fucking dumb for you to break up the Usos. Rich, they broke up the Usos, and look how hot Jey Uso got, bro. This is insane. Look, Rich, I shit you not. I think I told you about this.
You see what happens when Kenny Omega goes away from the business for a year? You see why it was important for him to come back? Shit like this has emerged.
Rich, I shit you not. Oh, I told you about this. One of the girls at the gym's a wrestling fan, right? You know we get each other for Christmas for Christmas, right? Christmas, right? I think I told you about this, right?
Y'all getting each other Yeetism shirts?
We getting each other matching Yeet shirts. Yes.
Sick. You put money in their pockets. Don't do this.
Rich, I might give her a boot. I might go and buy her a boot.
Look, let me hit the supplier up. Like, get you one of these one lifetime shirts here. But yeah, man. All right, man. Let's move forward off the Yeetism. Yeah, we clipping that.
You might have to clip like Jey Uso is top 3 in the company in WWE.
I'm gonna title this shit: Is Jey Uso the most over man in the history of the business?
Oh my
Is he actually the overman? You know, not just the Yeet man, the overman.
This look, they knew something because like they had that whole payment thing with the one dude that had the Yeet trademark already, and what they do, they paid that bread. They knew. Rich, when you see have you seen some of the new Yeet merch?
I have not.
They got the shit in different colorways now, Rich.
See.
It ain't just the blue no more. They got it in the blue and pink. They got it in the white. They got him.
The Yeetism for the women and the babies.
Rich, they got the shirt of his face in color, like in a color print. And then, like, he has the Yeet glasses on. And there's this big Yeet on the glasses. He comes down to the ring with glasses say Yeet on them. The Yeet Man Jey Uso. Like, people say the Macho Man Randy Savage. The Yeet Man Jey Uso. It's an actual thing. I'm not joking.
Jey Uso more over than Randy Savage ever was?
I'm not saying that. Stop it. Knock the fuck off.
At this point, I feel like we can just ask these questions now and not be laughed out of the room.
But I'm just, my point is that, like, it is shocking when you watch this shit. Like, because it ain't like we're not keeping tabs on this. Like, we watch this shit, like, monthly. We watch pay-per-views. Like, wait a second. This one's like some blip on the screen? Like, no, this is real? This is real! Holy shit!
All right, man. Let's move it. AEW Dynamite last week. What a show. Cleveland, this is a Fright Night. Opened up with showing Jon Moxley and his group in the parking lot. Talking about Claudio basically saying Moxley built AEW with his bare hands. Orange Cassidy says, pause this shit, stop the video. He walks out, no music. He said, this is not who he is. He's not a leader. Dead serious Orange Cassidy. Says he, watched Chuck Taylor, get attacked. And he highlighted the courage of the young talent on AEW's roster and calls them the future. He said, they are the future, but they are young, essentially. And he says they have no idea the danger they're in or how dangerous Jon Moxley is. He explains that as how he realized what he needed to do. Cassidy says if Moxley has his way, there would be no AEW, as Jon Moxley never needed AEW. He says that he needs AEW and he needs to stop this by cutting off the head of the snake. Cassidy says he's going to do it by himself to make sure no one gets hurt. Officially challenged him for the AEW World Championship. And when he said it, I was like, he essentially challenged him to Mortal Kombat. Like, it sounded like. Oh, and he called himself, the next world champion. He's not hard to find. I love this. I love the energy behind it. I thought the emotion was good. I bought it, and this was like, all right, let's fucking go.
Yeah, loved it too. Thought this was Orange's the best promo that I can remember hearing from him in AEW. Really added to the storyline of like what the stuff we've seen and we've talked about and criticized as far as like it's not believable these guys can actually like do anything with this monster heel faction. And he pointed out like these guys will be the future, but they're young, they are out of their depth, and like they need a leader, and I guess I have to be the leader. And it is me, and it's probably this isn't like he didn't say this, but like the meta part is like I guess the leader has to be me, a motherfucker named Orange. Like the serious leader has to be a human being by the name Orange. That's absurd, but like that's where we are, and it actually felt it felt real as far or like it felt
like
sincere.
A reluctant hero, essentially.
Yeah. So I really loved it, and like I'm in. Like obviously we think that he's not going to win, but like he's a great first challenger for this, and I think it did wonders what happened to Chuck Taylor for this to happen, to get to this point. That was what was desperately needed. And like the stuff that we endured the last few weeks to get to this show, that's what makes that, that's why you need highs and lows. Like we went through some lows and now we got some highs, and that felt great to have this show.
Yeah. Speaking of something that was not a high, Adam Cole returned to the ring. James, this was so bad. Like
it felt so to you is like it just felt like obviously he's not that fucking hurt. Get over it. It's your first match back and you're already doing this stuff.
He was out here going from, and I'm not normally someone that would ding someone for these things.
Super melodramatic.
Except like the overuse that Bryan Danielson did with the doctor stoppages all throughout the year has desensitized me to this stuff. Adam Cole is trying it while not being nearly as hurt, while being completely transparent, while he's jumping off the apron and then faking like he re-aggravated the injury. Mm-hmm. And then like he's popping back up, doing all the moves, collapsing again. And it's like,
yeah.
I saw this match and I was like, I don't want to see another Adam Cole match in this promotion. I'm done.
I would not go as far as you. All the stuff that you're talking about,
he looked so bad.
All the criticisms you have for it are valid, and all the stuff because it's the same stuff I observed. But I also observed the crowd lose its fucking mind for this match. The crowd went nuts for all the stuff he did.
And he was kicking out at one and shit. And then it was like...
I actually rolled my eyes at that when I was like, get the fuck out of here. It's your first match back.
I saw this match and I was just like, this is so see-through and almost a parody of pro wrestling. Like I rarely go into that parody of pro wrestling zone. That's like Seth Rollins versus Bray Wyatt in the Cell, the Hell in a Cell shit. Like I saw this and I was just like, I don't understand what he's doing. Like
he's selling his injury on his way back, but it's like he's doing it in the hokiest way possible. He's doing it in a very hokey way by AEW standards, right? Like that's the thing you do in NXT, that's the thing you do in WWE, but it's like this ain't the place for that. And also it's like, bro, regardless of whatever people have issues with him or whatever else, like he has had a number of great ass matches, like, and he was in there with the dude, and like there are parts of a great match in that stuff he did, but it's also the stuff where it's like, if you were turned off by this match, I completely understand. I was too, just not nearly as much as y'all were. I rolled, you want him out the company. You see what I'm saying? Like there's a difference as far as
I'm like, can we trade him for some WWE ID niggas or NIL niggas to be named later? Like, like, can we get Paul on the phone and say, hey, I know you want him back.
Also,
and
also another part about it is like, I feel like he's doing this and like the curtain getting pulled on him, right? Like it's gonna be like the rest of the kingdom is gonna team up with MJF or some shit like that. It feels like they're gonna pull something like that on Adam Cole. And also, I'm still not over this whole part where it's like He was a heel last time we saw him. All he did was show back up with from an injury.
Adam Cole. Hey, Shawn Michaels. Can we have Javon Evans back? Do you want Adam Cole? Look, I'll make you say no. What do you want?
Nah, Obafemi. Send him over. Look, before they ruin it with Nikita Lyons.
Shit. Send me Ben Carter back, and y'all can have Adam Cole. Like, I don't. Oh fuck. Like, yeah. I was just like seeing this guy, and I was like, I have largely been indifferent on Adam Cole in AEW, thinking people were like really hard on him, I think, for a lot of the stuff. And then like him being part of this MJF stuff, I have just violently rejected aside from him this.
Aside from him getting MJF over, he's to me, right? In the time I've watched him since 2017 NXT through now, aside from the time when he was helping MJF get over in 2023, aside from that, I do not think he's a good babyface. He's always been better as a heel.
But he's always just done it's like you almost want to see him try to do something different, but then it's like, oh, this is why they don't let you do nothing different.
And that's what I'm getting at. It's like, I'd rather him be a heel than him do this thing that I don't love, but understand that people are losing their minds for. Because people, like, the crowd was losing their shit for this match. They absolutely were. So I definitely know it's a taste thing. So it's working for some people, it's not working for other people. Mileage is varying. But for me, I hated it less than you did. But I get your sentiment of why you didn't like it, because I didn't like that stuff neither. I just didn't hate it.
Yeah, it was just like, I thought it was poorly placed, and it was all just like boom, 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 boom. And it was like, hold on, how did you go this fast from like damn near dying and quitting on the match, James? Like, fuck this, I'm gonna walk to the back, I've had enough.
Yep.
So all of a sudden, I'm in here kicking out at 1, literally like a minute and a half later. I'm like,
and for me, the part of it is frustrating. Is like, there's a better story in that of like, he's back, and each successive match to get closer to MJF, the ankle, the leg gets worse and worse, and MJF now has a thing to pick apart in his match, and then he could do all that kind of selling in the match with MJF, because we've seen him get the leg worked on. You know what I'm saying?
Like, they should.
That's a more effective story than his first match back. He's doing all this.
They should have had him like,
because
just trying
eventually he's gonna continue these matches. He's gonna continue doing these sell jobs. He already did a fix. He contemplated a walk-off in the first match. How's it going to get worse? He going to stretch him out on his foot?
Like, he should have started this one, like, protecting it, essentially. And then, like, Buddy Matthews essentially kicks his leg out of his leg, rather than, like, a fake telegraph fall off the apron, like, seconds into the match. Like, oh, I think I might have tweaked something here.
Do you think, and maybe this is a part where it's like getting lost in translation, do you think that him doing that was like connote the part where like, well, my leg did explode just by falling off the apron the last time, basically? Do you think that's what it's supposed to be?
It's supposed to be a callback.
No, I'm saying, are we?
But he like walked out there on his own and did that. Pretty much. It wasn't like it was part of the match.
Right. But my point is, like, if it happens him just running out there, now it's a match and it happens, in his mind he thinks, well, yeah, that's just as believable, because like y'all saw it happen to me for real. But for me, it's like, that shouldn't have even happened. That was a fookish ass accident.
You're not that good an actor, Adam Cole. I can see it on your face that you're attempting to work me here, and that's fine. Work me, but you're not that good of an actor to pull that off.
Yeah, it was Seth Rollins selling.
He then cut a promo after. Before that, they shake hands essentially, and the lights go out, and then when they come back on, Malachi Black's in the ring shaking Adam Cole's hand, and immediately I was like, what is going on here?
Right.
And then later on, I've come to find out Adam Cole is wrestling a singles match against Malachi Black. Right. I'm like, huh?
Right.
Did they has something changed?
Right.
Like, Is Adam Cole going under next week? Like,
I went from being like my eyes were half rolled after the match happened. Right, I understand people like the match. I like parts of the match for being like all the stuff we just went over. As far I was just like, no, it's just so unbelievable. And then I saw him shaking hands with Malachi. I was like, wait, someone has to do a job? Let's go! Somebody's gonna have to lose.
Oh my God.
This is one of the most high leverage going to be. This is one of the most high leverage matches in AEW this year. Somebody has to lose this match.
Like when you see this, it's like, okay, hold on. They're like kind of pushing Adam Cole right now, and Malachi Black.
Rich.
When's the last Malachi Black like
clean loss?
Or was it Copeland?
Copeland, yeah, Rich
in a cage.
Rich, have the two NXTers accidentally stumbled on the original match that made AEW happen? Someone has to do a job. So have they accidentally stumbled upon it? The two push NXT, the XWE guys, one of them's gonna have to do a job. They stumbled into it. On accident, they finally figured it out after all this time in this company. Both of them. We might have to come back and we're proud of y'all next week.
Look, Tony should have been doing this. Be like, hey, all right, you gonna wrestle somebody from WWE then? One of y'all niggas gonna y'all fight it out.
Right? Is that the thing? Is like, you know what? They act all fugazi, but if they wrestle, but if they're at the PC, they were in Orlando together, then all of a sudden they ain't got no problems down for each other. They trauma bonded. They ain't got no problems laying down for their brothers. We was in the trenches. We was out here putting on class pay-per-views, and just off the strength of Triple H giving us a rah-rah speech for 2 minutes before we went out there.
So I saw this and I was like, all right, I'm picking Malachi Black to win. Or if he loses, it is in goofy fashion. I guarantee it.
We'll see.
Adam Cole cut a promo on MJF in the back in the trainer's room because we didn't have enough of Adam Cole already.
It was a good promo. It's like, I'll go through anything to get back to you. Yeah.
Christopher Daniels was there with Private Party, who has the belts, gave him a pep talk ahead of their match before they had the belts. Pep talk ahead of, their match with the Bucks. He basically said, me and my tag team partner, we lost, our career to them. And then Isaiah said, they vow to win the championships tonight. Kyle Fletcher comes out. And, him and Don came to the stage. He said, Fletcher was like, yeah, sporting the new haircut. And, said he's there to call out Will. And then nobody comes out after he plays Elevated, I think. And then Mark Davis shows up, who hasn't been seen in months. He's Kyle Fletcher's tag team partner. And immediately I'm like, man, whoop his ass. We singles now, baby. Like, jump him, get him the fuck out of here. Or become a goon, become a flunky.
I think that's the feature move.
It has it written all over it.
Yep.
Davis says, Fletcher knows Ospreay is laid up at home. He said Fletcher has changed. Fletcher says that Don Cal has helped him see who Ospreay really is. He said he's sure that Ospreay forgot about you, Mark Davis. Fletcher says he ensured that Davis would have a spot in the Don Callis family. Davis then responds by saying, we had an empire, and Fletcher, you destroyed it. Fletcher says that there's going to come a day where he has to make a hard decision, telegraphing it right there that he's about to turn on Will Ospreay too, and he has no problem cutting the pass loose. Mark comes in from the good guy, leaves the bad guy side.
Yes, that happened.
So I imagine the first big match that Ospreay and Fletcher have, Mark Davis will be there to turn on Will Ospreay to give Kyle Fletcher the win.
Yep.
If anything else happened, I would be surprised. Then
because Ospreay wants to give Fletcher a win.
Yeah. Yep. Then somewhere far, far, far away from the ring, in the bowels and just back hallways of the arena, Hangman Adam Page is back there, talks about facing Jay White. He discusses their feud, says there's no such thing as redemption. Instead, there are only wins, losses, and consequences. Page says he knows White's going to target his injured leg, but White doesn't know what he will do to him. He says he's going to leave, White, and he's going to leave him behind, and he'll fuck him up. And this is another good promo for Hangman. Good energy on it too.
Yeah.
John Moxley from there. He walks out. He's responding, or set to respond at least. He all came out and said, one day Orange Cassidy's going to understand. He thinks he says that Cassidy thinks he challenged him, but it was the other way around. Moxley said that he challenged Cassidy last week by attacking Chuck Taylor. He cut out some of the distractions he was dealing with. Said he doesn't want Cassidy to catch a disease that seemed to affect a lot of people in AEW. People were happy with their paychecks. Moxley agreed to face Cassidy and said he's going to fight him in the Valley, and he better be prepared to die, James. He says if Cassidy thinks he's free from distractions, they should put that to the test. So, the entire group turns on Wheeler Yuta, who I feel rapidly less sympathy for every week. But it's a scam and a setup.
It was a setup that they didn't clue Yuta in on just because they wanted to scare the shit out of him, because he's still what do you call it? In a lot of movies, you have this thing of establishing the world, and you have a character be the person, the writing character, then they're basically you, where this person is running into this gang and you're going to follow their lifestyle or whatever else and all the adventures they're on, and you're kind of watching through their eyes. Yuta is we're in this deep dark shit now, and I'm unaware, but I want to still be in this, and they're doing all this shit to him, and he's like, what the fuck? I didn't know these were the rules, whatever else, and we're just and then I didn't know they were that cold blooded. We're yeah, we'll tease breaking his fucking neck to get him out of here so we can put some boost to asses. Because at the end of it, they did Marina slapped him, was dummy, you thought we actually gonna hurt you?
Yeah.
You know, well, yeah, nigga, y'all psychotic.
Yeah.
I thought this was well done.
Look, nigga, you chose. Why you are here. You are here on. You are here flagging.
Yeah, you gang violence. You want to be in a gang? All right.
Yeah, shit. We're gonna make you be in a gang.
Yeah.
It's he got put in the game without getting jumped in, and they taking advantage of him every day.
Well, getting jumped in was when Regal and Dangle sitting in whatever was stretching his ass on the mass.
There's a whole new group. There's a whole new thing. This is philosophy. They ain't had look. Regal ain't had no plastic bags.
Replace Danielson with Pack, and it's a whole new gang, huh?
A whole new gang. They ain't had no plastic bags back then. Look, they was out there rolling around talking about how to train the neck sideways and shit. Nah, they out here putting bags on heads. This is a different fundamental thing, James.
When you say they put bags on heads, you made me think of that Cody Rhodes shit from back in the day. put
a bag on. Yes. So, Orange runs out. The group outnumbers them. They gang up on Orange, and the Dark Order make the save because they ready to fight at all times. Monsters group still gets the upper hand and whoops their ass. Pac puts a chair around Orange Cassidy's neck, and then Darby Allin starts, coming down from the rafters, and he's just hanging there for a second.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
And he takes the fight to Claudio.
Oh, okay. It's funny because, Claudio rarely sells for anybody, but he had to sell that for Claudio. He had to sell that for Darby, and it's like he has a child on his back. It's just hilarious.
So more, they basically get into a bigger fight. More baby faces run out and kind of run, the Death Riders off. And then, Private Party is out there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the Young Bucks music hits to basically break it all up. And then it's the Bucks just come out there after, all right, all that shit done. All right, here we coming out now.
We gonna take advantage of the part where you just in a tussle. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's well done.
After that, we got the Young Bucks versus Private Party, AEW World Tag Team Title match. And the Private Party guys have finally done it. They have won the AEW World Tag Team Championship.
In a great match.
In an awesome match. They gave them everything in this match. They gave him like these superhuman like kickouts, the isolations, the 1 count, the super finishers, the Kenny Omega finishers, the callback finishers.
I know Johnny Gargano saw Isaiah Cass kick out of all that shit that the Young Bucks put him through, and he was like, see, my legacy will live on forever. You just didn't expect it to happen to AEW with a black man, but it happened. The Garganoism came through the screen, and look, when they was kicking out of that shit, none of y'all saying this was unrealistic, this is bullshit. You know what y'all did? Y'all said, "This is fucking awesome." That's what y'all see. Y'all told yourselves. Y'all just didn't like the NXT black and gold system and Triple H getting all that cred. That Garganoism shit worked when it worked. Okay, that shit goes.
Look, if anybody had an issue with Johnny Gargano, it wasn't me.
Say again.
I said, if anybody had a problem with Johnny Gargano, it wasn't me.
Oh no, I'm talking about anytime I ever mention like I like Johnny Gargano, people come in the comments or whatever like he sucked. I'm like, okay, good luck with that, bro. I don't know what to tell you, man. He has one of the best matches of the era.
Yeah. So this was kind of like it's like, all right, I think about it and it's like, all right, man, the Young Bucks dropped these belts here, and people like immediately like started going into the hysteria. Oh, thank God, this awful title reign's over. James, let me pull up this. I think it's a good time we can audit this title reign for the Young Bucks. I think it's a good time to go through and let's see what type of thing we were dealing with here. So, all right, these guys had I got this one here. This is where we at. Fuck it, we'll just start with the. I got it right here.
I forgot how they got the belts back.
Okay, they got the belts in a ladder match with FTR at Dynasty, and I was there in person.
That's right.
In 2 months before
that's the re-debut of Perry, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
2 months before that, they retire Sting in an all-time classic match.
Yeah, I think it's like on Cage Match, like the top 5 highest rated match of the year.
Yep.
In the world in wrestling. Yeah, this year.
So from there, they beat the Acclaim by DQ, it looks like. That was kind of a angle setup. So, yeah, people were mad.
Yeah.
They hadn't defended those belts in a while.
Yep.
They went at All In. Pretty good match. 3-way match.
Yep.
They defeat the BCC on pay-per-view in a nice match.
That was who and who? Claudio and who else?
Claudio and Yuta.
That match was good. That was all out, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that was really good.
Then they go to Arthur Ashe Stadium and they wrestle against Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay. And,
one of the best tag matches of the year.
Incredible TV match. Then at the Tacoma Dome, they beat Private Party in a match, probably like 4.5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
And then they drop this championship to them in epic fashion, clean in the middle of the ring.
A match that was better than the 4.5 star match they had on pay-per-view. Yeah.
I give you your 2024 Tag Team of the Year, the Young Bucks.
Oh yeah, they're definitely Tag Team of the Year. Like, I mean, yeah. Like the Fletcher and Ospreay match in the Sting Retirement match alone gets you that. Let alone the part where like they came to the year as champions, won the belts right back, and then like they're the what do you call it? The rest of the field. What is the rest of the field?
Some nice little matches in NXT with Ben Carter and the A-Kid.
Like, don't get me wrong, like
not promotion defining matches or anything Sting or Private Party finally win the belts after 5 years,
Right. Like, don't get me wrong, like Suzu and May Sierra and like FWC had an incredible match earlier this year. But like Stardom's cold. Right? Like they're in the middle of the tag league right now. But you get my point, like Who are the tag teams that are supposed to be up against them? Obviously, throwing FTR, they'll finish top 5 or whatever else. They've had another solid year.
Yeah.
Right? But a lot of that's on Collision, so I haven't seen much of it. But, like, obviously, they're still FTR. But my point, like, yeah, they're going to win Tag Team of the Year again. And this is, if you want to say that, like, you're tired of them based off, like, comparison to their other excellent tag team years, I can see what you're saying. But if you're saying anything other than they're still been the best tag team in the year, I can't help you, bro.
Yeah.
Also, their contracts don't make it to where they got to wrestle that much anymore. They are part-timing now. I get it. I would like to see them more often too. However, the part-timing is what it is.
They've earned it.
They was able to get them good contracts.
Look. This was a trade-off. It was like in a fallout or brawl out, you was either gonna have to risk letting these niggas leave the company and take the public image hit on that and everything like that, or you was gonna have to like sweeten the deal.
No, you said no. Take the public image hit of them leaving for WWE, or they're the best tag team in the world again. Oh my God! I can't believe that. I can't believe what a terrible negotiation for Tony Khan.
Yeah, amazing. But yeah, Private Party got these belts, and very happy for those guys.
Yes.
You know, guys been around since like the second show in this promotion, and you know they've been up and down, and they got caught a lot in that Matt Hardy stuff, which never actually ended up putting them over at the end.
Right. And Cassidy's still loyal to him. We're in the mesh.
Yep. Isaiah Cassidy essentially like kept this team alive through Mark Quinn's inactivity, with various injuries and out of the ring circumstances. I believe there was a car accident as well.
Crazy haircut.
Yeah. And from there, it was just like I think somebody finally just looked around backstage and was like, those guys, what are we doing with them?
This is a signature AEW act.
Right. It's like those fucking guys, they have something, but like they just need a little. And then the Young Bucks, of course, like the Young Bucks have been dedicated to putting Private Party over since 2019.
Yep.
Of course, they were going to do like all they could to help with it. So like, I didn't like how they did that promo before the match at Wrestle Dream. And I don't even know if it's necessarily healed now by this match and then doing it like that. I just think that was unneeded. But
do you think they did that while knowing this was going to be the end game?
Absolutely.
Yeah, same here.
Absolutely.
I think they did it on purpose to get you to want to get behind them eventually.
Yeah. So very very happy for these young men.
Now,
like I'm wanting like
Do you think they should have saved it? Do you think they should have saved it? Do you think they should have saved that promo and then had Cassidy respond with, or a version of that promo and have Cassidy respond with, you know what? There's some truth to that, and this is our last tag match. We can't beat you. And then it's like, I proved it to you, as opposed to, damn, they said that shit, and then they actually beat him, and now they got to beat him. Now they got to get a rematch to beat them.
They kind of did that, but like they kind of did it in a condensed fashion. Like they basically just picked up the mic after a match. It wasn't like they brought them out there and it was like Tony Schiavone was like, we're going to talk to Private Party and then we're going to bring them out, and then they issue like kind of a direct challenge rather than just grabbing the mic after the match, like just yelling and all tired and shit like that. Like there was a way that I think they could have made this even bigger, but I think this still did a lot for them, and I think it threw people a bone that where it was like there's been just so much like so much of
after
the
Wrestle Dream
dominating.
This is easily the moment of the best moment of AEW post Wrestle Dream. Easily. Like you heard me last week just bitch and moan and bitch. Well, I actually listened back to our podcast. I haven't listened to most of our podcasts. I normally used to do that every single week, but like listen to that one, and I was like, bro, like. Where's the joy that this show used to always have? And like, this was one of those moments where it's like, this is the shit I'm talking about. Like, you can get your heat, but the point of heat is for a payoff. And we were like, there was a lot of heat, not much paying off happening. And like, I was glad to get that. That was a feel good moment for like an AEW original act, a day one act, I'm saying original act or whatever else, what do you call it? The Acclaim is AEW original act, but like to see an act that like came up through AEW that people think of as AEW first and foremost in most wrestling fans' minds, to like finally get that reward to get after like being successful to a certain extent or whatever else, but never being able to break through because other tag teams came around and got what they probably should have gotten a year or two ago or 3 years ago, and like not saying that they got over, not saying that like these teams didn't deserve it because Swerve and Glory was fucking awesome. There were other teams that were fucking awesome. They got it. Like Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy was fucking awesome. It was like, when was it ever going to be the time where like the right circumstance happened to where like this team that you wanted to have the long journey with was finally going to get that, and they did, and I was happy for them. It was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I want them to have them belts for a long fucking time.
I want to know.
But like a substantial amount of time where you'd be like, they were actually the top tag team in this company for half a year or 4 months or some shit like that. Yeah.
Whatever keeps FTR away from these belts, like FTR better not even look at them. Like, start talking. Maybe we should go over.
That ain't how FTR get down. They'll come up with some other heel tag team that ain't that good. That's like their underlings, and they'll get the belts, and then FTR will beat them for those belts, like what they did with the Acclaimed in the Gun Club.
Man,
I ain't forget that shit. That was some nasty work.
So, Kazuchika Okada came out there and tombstone them, and then probably walked to the back, like snuck out of there
with a huge smile. That forest green suit was clean. Yeah. Okada's, man, look, I understand people are like, it's very one dimensional, but like Okada as a funny heel dick is funny. He's really good at it. He's really good.
Yeah.
I wish there was more to this to his. Once he's like, I wish there was like he was actually like a champion that had like programs with people, or whatever else. Like, it seems like he's more of a accessory act to everything that is going on with the Elite, as opposed to his own man. I wish there was, and obviously there's a reason for that because of the language barrier, but I wish there was more of like his own man and he can do this while also going out there and having real programs with people. But in these little moments like this, it's just hilarious. It's hilarious. And when he tombstoned him, it was like, oh, Cassie finna eat like 5 finishers and call it a night. And Cassie's like, I'll eat 5 finishers. I ain't calling it a night.
With Kenny Omega getting healthy, maybe people will get the Okada that they're looking for whenever it's time for number 5.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
I would be very interested to see how they're going to handle that, because part of me thinks I'm going to come on this show and be like, I think I could have booked it better. Like, it's going to be like, I just hope they do it the right way.
That match?
What's up?
You know when they eventually do that match?
Yeah. Well,
there's a high part of it, and also the part where it's like the timing of Omega's of sickness or whatever else. That, I mean, it would have been perfect time to do it, to have done it, in Wembley. But
yeah,
and also because you think like he's coming back, like, are you gonna be able to hold that off for presumably Texas? That seems like the match if you're gonna do a match for Omega and Okada in Texas, that will be the match. But it's like, can you get away with holding it off that long?
How do you do that match and you don't main event it?
You put Ospreay in the main event for the title?
I don't know if that's happening.
I mean, I'm just throwing out ideas of like, it's something like that.
Yeah.
Like you have a crowning champion that's going to be like a potential ace champion. Some shit like that.
Australia, Grand Slam. That'd be good for Sam if they did that. Big match in the stadium there.
No disrespect to Sam, but like, I'll be damned if they put another Omega Okada match.
Not in America.
In that hemisphere.
Yeah.
No, man, y'all already got 4 of them. Enough.
Yeah.
When's the time for us?
It's all time. Cause look, they got a ring down the street from my career. They come running at the Nightmare Factory if they want. I'll pull up.
Now, Now I'm laughing at how ridiculous that sounds, but now I'm thinking to myself, like, if Rich called me and said, "Hey man, Okada and Omega are out here like going through a walkthrough of their match," and they said that and, I'm talking to somebody that's in the know or whatever was getting me in there, and they said you can come through. You'd be like, James, you want to come through? I would contemplate just being a fly on the wall. I'll buy a little cheap ticket to fly up there, Rich, to see the little walkthrough. Yeah, why not? Don't that sound insane?
Yeah.
It sounds insane. I'd do it though.
Craziest thing was like when I was at Dynasty, I was in a hallway backstage, and like probably like 20 feet maybe to my left was Okada and Pac, and they were like going over their match the whole time. I was just like,
fucking good.
I was just looking over, just like, what the fuck? Like hold on, what's happening here? Like, this is amazing,
right?
But
I just saw Santa Claus in the Easter Bunny trading notes. Like that's some shit like that. Yeah.
So up next, James. Chris Jericho. I am convinced that Chris Jericho either listens to the show or he's seen the clip. Never underestimate Chris Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Jericho cuts this promo basically looking dead in the camera with his shit-eating grin, hypes up his win last week, took another shot at Mark Briscoe by bringing up his brother Jay, said he couldn't have did without Big Bill and Brian Keith, and essentially said he's the Nueve. He brings up the success of Terrifier 3 and the growth of Ring of Honor. He said he's going to take ROH to the biggest stage it's ever been. Tells everyone to enjoy the ride as he's going to take it to new heights. And buddy, he drops the never underestimate Chris Jericho, which obviously I immediately started getting tagged and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But if this nigga Jericho has finesse in a way to basically like, yeah, always got this here TV deal. They strapped me up to do it.
Right. That's what my joke is. They talk about it. He has a TV deal with like potentially True TV or whatever else, and it's like there's a reason why there's a reason why this man decided to go to be the ROH champion again. This is nasty work by him.
He don't lose.
Yeah.
Like, never count him out. It doesn't, like, I'm telling you, man, it was so funny to see this because I don't think Chris Jericho is at his peak or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not delusional.
That'd be valuable though.
But man, would I want to have that guy on my roster because he just has so many ideas, whether to get himself over or to help people around him, essentially. And then, like, he's valuable because people just know his name. Mm-hmm. He's got a big fan base, whether you realize it or not. People are always gonna rock with him in some way. And he's got people that don't like him. We know this,
right?
Or whatever. But at the end of the day, these people have James. They've almost spent a year trying to get this man under, and they have failed spectacularly.
And the only time it's ever even been close to working is when it's been with Hook.
Yep. This guy, all timer of all timers, and as a worker in the ring and as a worker out the ring.
Yeah. So I think, was it this weekend I was telling you about, like, yo, bro, like, Chris Paul's last 2 games has like 23 assists and like only like 2 turnovers. And like he's top 5 in assists again. And like he's shooting 50-40-90. He has a 50-40-90 shooting split so far this year. And I was like, bro, like the Spurs are like, they're 3-3 right now. And I was like, Rich, this motherfucker Chris Paul has figured out a way to like be valuable again. And I'm looking at his box score right now. He had 10 assists tonight. And it's like, what is it with these old ass Chris's that keep finding ways to be valuable players in their respective sports? Like, this shit should not have lasted this long for either one of them. They keep figuring out ways to be viable. It's crazy, man. It's crazy, and it's like this should have been over for you a long time ago. Hang it up. You're hurting your legacy to that third. It's like, nah, I keep adding to my legacy because I keep finding ways to keep extending this thing. And y'all want me to go away, but y'all want me to go away just because y'all tired of seeing me, not because I'm not good anymore. It's funny. It's really funny between these two right now because they both named Chris.
Yeah.
These old niggas named Chris will not lay it down.
Frankenstein type of efficiency, like just showing up and they're just like, all right, like I ain't no Chris Paul fan like that, but like you got to like, if you lay it all out, right? And then you see it's like, hold on, this man is still like a positive to a team. Like he might not win you the championship or anything, right? Like you're not gonna push Chris Jericho as the very top of the promotion at this point, right?
Exactly.
But
that's exactly where I'm getting at.
You can push him as the ROH champion, or you can stick the FTW title on him, and he turns it into something.
Right. These two are still positive contributors, like at
their level,
as what do you call it? Like they're still positive contributors while still being like mainstays. That's crazy. Because like Jericho's what year did he debut?
1990.
1990. Chris Paul's in year 20. And he's 5'11". We've never seen no shit like this on TV. In either of their scenarios.
Oh man. I love that guy. So up next, we then saw we saw Anna Jay talking about she's looking forward to her match on Collision. Then we saw Daniel Garcia confronting Jack Perry and pushing him up against the wall in the Tunnel Talk moment of the week.
Oh, God.
And it basically calls him an entitled piece of trash. And then Jack Perry just kind of gets this like sick look in his face, and he's like, they used to dance for me too. Like... Bro, I heard that shit. I was like, bro, he's so locked in. Oh, he's great. And it's like, wow.
Shake that ass for Drake, now shake that ass for free.
Yeah. Go out there and do your dance, Daniel Garcia. Don't stop one day. And then all of a sudden, Jack Perry just was walking, and all of a sudden he opens the door, and the Young Bucks are like packing their bags and they're shredding documents. It is like,
oh, what the fuck is this?
Like, I think it's a Succession thing,
right? That's what I saw. That's what I saw online, but I was like, cool.
I don't have that context when I first see it. I was like, what the fuck are they doing?
I have not gotten into Succession because like it's one of those things like with me where it's like either I need to get in on season 1 of a show or I need to wait until like the last season to watch it. It's a weird thing with me, but like I saw them shredding the documents and just on his face, I was like, were they in the recalls unaware of?
Yeah,
fans coming to do a sweep?
Are they out there supposed to be in the courtroom with Thug?
Oof, boy.
Like, I now at this point, I'm very intrigued at this point because they've lost the belts, and now they're doing this thing where they're like, "Hey, we gotta go," and then we're shredding documents. So it's like, did they sell something? Did they trade something on their behalf? And then it was like they knew the Death Riders were coming for them because they were trying to escape. So like, what went on?
I figured that was going on, but I didn't know what they had to do with them burning or shredding up papers.
That's what I was like, did they sell them something? Was it false information or documents or something?
Or was it some shit where it's like, that's the reason why they've been avoiding each other is because like they came to some agreement or whatever else. But it's like, Moxley seemed like the type to be out here coming to agreements on paper.
Yeah.
At least this version of Moxley.
They fax it to him? Like, I don't... But yeah, so I'm just like, well, what could it be? So hopefully they got something cool planned to explain.
We can't let people find out that John Mox is on favorite nations.
Yeah, it's like, hey man, like what does Mox's contract actually look like? You know, what is his job title in this promotion? You know, like has he switched from food and beverage? Like I don't.
No, they'd be like, we can't let the boys know that John Mossy got insurance.
Yeah. It's like, shuffle these papers around.
Like, look, we already know he has insurance because of Renee. Stop it.
So we got Camille versus Chris Statlander. Chris Statlander wins.
Are you gonna go or am I gonna go?
You can go. James Boy White win review. Let's go.
I see what you did there. After I talked about that match, that women's tag match, that 4-way in WWE with Metaphor and Bianca and Jade. Now it's time for White Woman review. Never no Black review. It never get brought up when I talk about the Black review. No, not at all. No. When man, this match sucked, and this match was only good in the match, and the crowd only gave a fuck when Statlander was doing anything. Yeah, man, Camille ain't got it. She just ain't got it. We talked about it last week. We were like, it don't appear she has it, and she ain't got it. She was in there with someone that would have brought it out of her. She had it. She ain't got it.
Someone should have sat them down and showed them a tape of Micah versus Himeka before they walked out there and was like, hey, how about y'all just like run into each other with a bunch of shoulder blocks a bunch of times? Show them a tape of Bozilla for Christ's sakes. Like, I don't know. Wasn't feeling it.
You. Now, I was just dismissively just being like,
roar at each other.
No. Right. I was just dismissively like, look, man, they just ain't got it. And then you invoke Himeka and Micah, and now I'm upset. How dare you? How dare you? First off, Statlander, as good as she is not shown the want to wrestle like that. And like, I have wanted her to wrestle like that. Like, if she ever gets a match with Jamie, I want her to wrestle like that against Jamie, right? I want her to have a hostile match, right? Like, honestly, like, the matches with Willow, there's elements of that, but like, I mean, like a match where like, that's the whole thing. Just big, strong women beating the shit out of each other with clubs and forearms until someone falls to the mat, right? Like never open weight women's wrestling. Like, that's what I want. That's not Statlander's bag. She has elements of that, but that's not really her bag. She wants to be like, a baser, a very good base for smaller women, and then like a powerhouse in that faction. And that's perfectly fine because she's a good ass wrestler. Camille, I don't know what she's trying to accomplish, bro. I don't know. But
it's almost like she was big till somebody big showed up.
But she's taller than Stat. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think it's a question of toughness, meanness, the display of any of that stuff. I just don't think she's just that good or has got enough XP, enough experience to harness that. And that's fine, but I don't want her on my TV no more. Unless she's going to be just a heater that does cheating stuff for her and take a big bump here and there for Mercedes, I don't want to see her on my screen. Or unless, and obviously sit there and look menacing behind or next to Mercedes. There's nothing else she can give AEW, I don't think, aside from that.
So Mercedes yelled at her and basically told her to go to the back.
Yes, she did.
So maybe dissension or whatever. At this point, I think you have Mercedes like go over her and turn her baby face, and then
you cut her losses. Like,
ROH.
You getting me under? Go away.
Christian Cage extended a olive branch to Hook for next week. Says he wants to explain himself. Up next, Mark Briscoe, Tomohiro Ishii, and Kyle O'Reilly are backstage. Mark said he's going to make Jericho pay for bringing up Jay Briscoe again. He's went over their history of the back and forth. Kyle O'Reilly pitches a fight without honor next week, and then Tomohiro Ishii cuts an incredible promo in his language, and then, fight without honor next week. Learning Tree versus Conglomeration.
That should be fun.
Yeah, should be pretty good. So from there, the Young Bucks are shown leaving, and CD, Christopher Daniels, tries to stop them. Bucks say it's too chaotic. This is Matt Jackson saying this. They're going to be working from home. Sound like complete hoes. When they say this, I was dying. They drove off into the night, out of there. And then all of a sudden, John Moxley just starts walking around the corner or whatever, and like the camera cuts, and they see Brandon Cutler like running, like, "Hey, y'all forgot something. Y'all forgot like whatever the fuck." And then he turns around. He already knows what it is. It's almost like, all right, whoop my ass, and then they fuck him up, and then they stick his hand out, and then Claudio hits it with a hammer, but like they don't cut the camera in time, so like
you
it
clearly
looks
see the miss.
bad.
Yeah, they clearly see the miss. Look, man, I can't remember what day of the week this was in like the chronology of all this stuff, but like this was like after like news of like Dirk was like trying to get out the country to countries that have extradition.
Yeah.
Right? Like whatever country he was going to go to was going to send his ass right back to face these charges. And it was like the way that they were trying to get the fuck out of there, out of before like BCC showed up to kick in the door, it was like, oh, there's a sweep and we got to get out of here. They're going to kick in the door. And then BCC showed up and, all right, well, they gone. We going to get you, Cutler.
We know who you be with.
Yeah. Yeah. Like there's like a shoe has to drop in that and all this stuff between like why they ducking smoke from BCC and why they burning up paper. And yeah, like I expect them now to feud with them in some form or fashion, and like yeah, look for the Young Bucks to scream at babyface, even though I want Kenny Omega to kick their faces in, but it is what it is.
Then up next, we got some of the best, some of the blackest, some of the most like fun moments all combined in one in the history of professional wrestling. Swerve Strickland took on Shelton Benjamin, and they had a nice match. And they had like, when Shelton came out with the work that they've done, they put into him going so far, crowd's going nuts for Swerve as he comes back. This is his first match since the cage match. This feels like a big match as it's happening, or is about to happen. And it's like, yeah, they built some shit up the right way with this, with like the MVP appearance, the Shelton appearance eventually, the beatdowns, the good matches with Shelton and Leo Rush and Sammy Guevara, and then the beat. Oh, we'll get to it after, but Swerve and Shelton have a really good match, and basically he gets caught with the house call and a 450, Liger bombs, step up knee from Shelton. Like they did a bunch of like cool stuff, and this was like, I imagine like someone like Swerve like looking at like Shelton. This is like this is a generational clash here, and a lot of people recognize the moment as such. Probably extending right to those guys in the ring. And then, all of a sudden, Shelton Benjamin's kind of caught out of position, and he's in the strike zone. He's in the drop zone for the Swerve Stomp. Swerve Stomp pins him. And then all of a sudden, MVP is out here, like, holding the phone up to his ear. Like, I got to make a call. This didn't quite go according to plan. And then all of a sudden, them lights go out. And then big fucking horns start playing. And then Bobby Lashley emerges from the crack smoke.
In one of the cleanest suits you'll ever see.
Oh my God. He looked
in the
like
background.
$5 million. Not a million bucks. He looked like $5 million bucks.
Yeah. He
came out here, both ears pierced, out here on you boys. The glasses, the gestures in the aisle.
Was that shit leather?
Bro, I don't know what that shit was. It had to be leather. Purple leather suit, essentially. This nigga comes
like a maroonish purple. Yeah.
Bro, this crowd is
going... Team Morpheus, that's hilarious.
This crowd is going insane. This crowd is losing their minds. And all I'm thinking of, wrestling pundits did not want this man in the promotion. They should be thrown in the river. Throw their opinions out.
Was it like a fear of the fit, I guess?
I don't know.
Look, all man, I understand that AEW. I understand that AEW has a prior identity or whatever else, but I think Tony Khan has shown enough people in the different forms of wrestling in different short forms of influence of his wrestling has had over these 5 years. And like, what he cares about in wrestling is like just basically anything done well. It's a lot like the ROPW strategies. Like you can say it's one thing. Ultimately, is like whatever it is it done well? And like Bobby Lashley carries himself like a star. He works hard. Like, the same shit we basically said about LA Knight earlier. Right? There's a reason why we both like him. He works hard. He looks like a star. He looks like $1 million. He carries himself like a star. In the Hurt faction, in the Hurt business, Hurt Syndicate worked very well, and people really enjoyed that shit in WWE. And then it wasn't in WWE anymore, and now it's here.
This is the first time. This is the first time it ever appeared in front of audiences, and this audience went
I didn't
crazy.
think about that.
This audience went crazy seeing all of them together.
Wow.
Lashley gets in the ring. He goes face to face with Swerve, and my God, I could see the dollars falling like Okada's entrances. I saw this, and it was just aura for aura. This was like, yo, this is an enormous match. Whenever they do Swerve versus Lashley,
it's a really cool match because, like, you before even thinking about it, it's like, all right, Lashley's a free agent. What is he going to do? There's a million things he could do, but after this, and you knew from ever since Wrestle Dream, this was the direction. And then you see it in a way it's paid off for how they've done, how they treated, how they taken care with MVP, how they taken care with Shelton to get to this point. It's like every single step of this has worked out the way you will hope it has, because they showed them to care with it, because almost everything Swerve ever has done in AEW has been very thoughtful. There's another example of it, and it goes off. And it's like, where does Swerve go after this? And it's to this, and it's like another really cool direction. Another really cool direction. So this is another, like, at the end of this, after this match, it was like, yo, they really need this kind of show. And I understand, like, Swerve's babyface, he got beat down or whatever else, but it's like, this is the start of something or whatever else. And, like, these heel factions are cool that they all got. And it's like, now we have the pieces in place. Like, the Callis family, when Ospreay comes back, that's there and set. Right? Whatever happens with MJF when he comes back with Adam Cole or whatever else, that's there and set. But that's like the number 4 thing. That's the number 4 thing.
I just hope it doesn't get pushed like the number 2 thing.
No way. This Swerve and Hurt Syndicate thing.
We have to be conscious and aware of this.
BCC and Orange Cassidy / Darby or whatever else / Garcia. That's number 1 thing. Like, they have done it yet again where they have set the table of really cool, new stables or revamped stables, and like the perfect programs for the time right now, where it's like you've done the emotional investment, emotional weight for this now. There's pathos, there's people carrying one way or the other about all this stuff. And it will BCC also include the Young Bucks stuff too that we just talked about. Like, they have rallied this again after having, that whole summer was so much stuff, because that's just a schedule. It feels like, like post Revolution in a way. Whereas like we're headed somewhere, and Full Gear is going to be kick-ass.
So like Lashley, we'll keep wrapping it up. Lashley stares down Swerve, drops him with a cheap shot, and then Benjamin and Lashley ganged up on Swerve. Geeks assembled. They attack Prince Nana. Lashley puts Swerve in a hurt lock. They attack the officials that get involved, the Geeks, the refs, and his 3 big black niggas holding everybody off, clearing them out.
Yep.
And, bro, I saw the shit. I was like, oh shit! Like I was like, I smell the money. I smell the money. And
Look,
then and the MVP grabs the mic and says, "Guess who's back in business?" And then they go off the air, and I was like, oh my God.
Yep.
And they're standing over Swerve, who's dead at this point. And it's just like, the way this is all set up, this has been rolled out so clean so far. I'm really enjoying this. Yep,
same here. Hey man,
I'm sorry, Swerve. I ain't helping to fight Bobby Lashley, bro. You on your own.
Look, BAEW, Black Ass Elite Wrestling.
Hey man, conversation must be had.
This,
you know, some say Triple H didn't see anybody in that final segment.
Say again?
Some say Triple H had, couldn't make out anybody on screen in that final segment. This has come a long way from all elite white people, James. So
yeah, I
was playing WWE 2K24 yesterday.
As you mentioned, like the 9 o'clock match was, the black tag team getting the tag belts.
Hey, look, this is one of the blackest shows. Like,
hey, Rich. I mean, I
didn't hear nobody talking about this being one of the most blackest shows that has ever happened. But
Rich,
the show where no black people were wrestling, that was
Rich. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but like my background this week wasn't exactly an accident.
Yeah,
man. It was this is really cool.
Like, when I see this show, right? Oh, WWE 2K24.
Do you remember like when like New Day, when New Day kicked John Cena's ass and they held the ring like in 2015? It was one of those moments where, but except like obviously at a bigger level, but it was like. Because at that point, it was like, oh, they're actually really going to push them. And that was really cool. This was like, this is a main event, like, faction. They might, like, or this is a top faction. Can't say main event faction because, like, there's 3 of them in AEW. But, like, this is a top faction in AEW.
Look, Moxley could walk around with who he want, but I know who he stayed clear of. Like, he like I feel like Lashley is a motherfucker somebody don't want no smoke with.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, they have some big time heel factions right now in AEW, and so, like it's up to the baby faces to sink or swim against that caliber of like star in talent right now. Like, bro, their number 3 faction is the Callis faction. It's the Callis family with Takeshita.
With wrestler for wrestler might be like one of the greatest like factions like that has ever existed,
especially at height for height.
Yeah, like
yeah, man, it's getting spooky on that hillside over there in AEW. It really is. Like Kenny Omega, we talking about like the when you come back like heel or face, whatever else in the programs you got, he has hella options when he comes back.
Yeah. So I was saying with the WWE 2K14 or 24 I was playing. So I'm going through it, right? I'm looking at the roster. I'm like, he's not here no more. He left. And it's like Lashley, Ricochet, MVP, like almost don't get booked. Like it was just like nigga after nigga's just not on the roster no more.
And Rich, they teased, remember 2 weeks ago, right? They teased Ricochet and Hurt Syndicate with that card, and Ricochet out here jumping out on babyface champions.
Fully possible.
That's what I'm saying.
Fully possible.
Because he's out here in different countries, like beating up babyface top champions right now.
Fully possible.
Yeah.
Write it down.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, man, I gotta say it. If you want to watch black pro wrestlers in America, matter of fact, anywhere in the world, you might have to turn on TBS to do it.
Right.
Bowens and Caster, they're on the verge of splitting too.
Right.
Like, and Caster also has a MVP business card.
Right. And we're not saying this as a like, to be, pointing the thing or whatever, to be like the AEW's up thing. It's like, nah. Just like when people were having these conversations and like WWE was doing better, you could have said, yeah, WWE's doing better. Watch them if that's something that like interests you as far as what you want to see in your pro wrestling. If you honestly feel that way, you have to say that the show to watch would be AEW right now. That might change in a year. That might change in 2 years. That might change in 18 months. That might change in 6 months. But right now, same thing. If that's what you actually care about, and that's what you were typing about at the time, the tables have turned. Same thing when we talk about with the women's wrestling.
Yep.
So yeah.
So you kind of got to lay in your bed. You said this is what you like, right? Unless that's not what you really meant. So
if that was just a talking point for points in the argument or whatever else,
like they can come out and say that, so at least we know what it is.
Right.
We know you were unserious.
Right. Because there are legitimate discussions to be had about both of those. They happened here on One Nation Radio. We was out here burying the AEW Women's Division since 2019. That happened.
It exists.
It's in the archive.
Man.
That was our year-end discussion on AEW 2019. I was like, hey, this women's division stinks. So yeah.
Yeah, man. But that was
it's changed. It's improved.
That was cool. Dynamite. That was a hell of a show.
Yeah.
All things, because after Adam Cole got the fuck off my screen, I was locked in, baby.
And this happened on a show that did not have many wrestling matches.
Yeah.
This is one of those with 4. It's supposed to 5 like normal or traditionally.
So we are running long today. We have obviously the U.S. election coming up here tomorrow. If you don't care about anything that do with politics, you can turn the podcast off. If you want to stay, you agree with us, that's fine. If you disagree with us, that's fine too. You know, you should talk to people you disagree with sometimes if they're talking in good faith. But yeah, man, this is election day coming up, 2024 election. The other day I was thinking, man, every time that an election comes around, they always say it's the most important election of our lifetime. Mm-hmm. Then I'm like, well, if I was just to lay it out on paper, right? Which one was the most important election that has happened already so far? And in
our lifetime?
Part of me thinks it was the year 2000 or whatever, because from the Clinton time, like the economy's booming, essentially. Mm-hmm. They don't things are getting done. Obviously, I would just remember life being a lot more, I don't know, just easier, simpler, and upward progression for people. I know my mom always had a good job around that time, and it just felt like the world was kind of moving. It was cool, kind of they'd be like, oh yeah, America's doing its thing or whatever. But then after 2000, once I saw George Bush, and I felt like I was seeing a president on TV that I felt wasn't making sense, or when I would listen to him, I'm like, they don't sound intelligent. Mm-hmm. I think everything kind of changed after that. And then from there, obviously everything that happened since with the wars and everything like that. So it was oh, we clearly were on a path, and then we went to a new frontier after that. 9/11, wars in Afghanistan, natural disasters around the country, slow relief, rampant housing crisis that pops up, mm-hmm. Recession, and mm-hmm. all this shit. And George Bush on top of all this, right? Mm-hmm. And then it's how important was the 2008 election really? I don't know. It was important in some sense. It was all right, could it have gotten worse from there? Maybe, but we did see it get worse in different ways later on.
Okay, so I would say that passing the healthcare was a big thing, and also whether it was McClain or it was going to Obama, both of them would have been adults and the actual behave presidentially. They would have gotten themselves out of the recession the same way that Obama did. Either one of them would have. Mm-hmm. So yeah, getting out of the Cheney in in Bush bullshit. That wasn't crucial, but either one of them was going to be a step towards that direction either way, regardless of mm-hmm. your politics for McCain or not, or align with McCain or not. So yeah, how consequential was it? Honestly, I don't know, but it definitely was. I mean, the other part of that is, while saying that absolutely putting a black man in the Oval Office absolutely has changed American politics in a way, yes. In a way that it few things ever have ever. So while policy wise it wasn't, I don't think it was that pivotal. Obama's being president became pivotal, and it's changed American politics forever. It's more people actually understand what they're voting for now, and the places, and obviously both parties are, well, the right side is more radicalized than ever before. the left is still trying to pretend that it's still center, or sorry, they're still, the establishment is still center or left of center, while people that vote for it are far more left of the party, right? Yeah. So, and that's something they're still going to have to come to terms with. But yeah, like, for me, I probably have to say it. It has to be it has to be pretty much anything post Obama now, because like the consequences of putting Trump in office, like you had, then leads to the Trump thing, which then leads to the Biden presidency, which then leads to January 6th, right? Like it's they try to overthrow the government.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like they tried to turn the shit into a dictatorship. They're still trying to turn the shit into a dictatorship. Like every Trump or every second Trump presidency run is they're trying to turn this shit into a dictatorship. Whether or not people want to bullshit you and act like, nah, no, not really. That's hyperbole. It's like, okay, then why were they trying to hang Mike Pence? Why were they trying to kill at the time, the vice president of the United States? Oh, no answers on that? Why is there a vice president we don't see him anymore?
You know, Roe versus Wade overturned under the justices that Trump named last time.
And other
who played stupid during their testimonials, or you know, basically when they were getting grilled, they were like, "Will you change Roe v. Wade?" And they were like,
all lied, and we all knew they were lying.
Yep, all lied in our faces.
Yeah.
So
Kavanaugh,
reproductive rights, whatever has been good left up to the states. When could we trust the states to, you know, just run things for themselves? It don't tend to work like that historically, because like. Right. Always hear it's like, yeah, man, like if you leave it up to, and this is going to sound like I don't want to sound like this. All right, if you leave it up to white folks, like or whatever, like chances are like they're going to operate in a way that is beneficial for them. Like I think that's as nicely as I can say that.
I mean, that's not even saying nice. As a matter of fact, like if you leave it up to the decision of white people to be in a place of power, they are going to choose white supremacy over and over again. That's the 200+ year history of this country. That goes back to 1619.
Yeah,
right. Like that. Like you look at our laws and you look at how and their quote unquote unintentional consequences, our policies, all that kind of stuff. A lot of it ties back to either misogyny or white supremacy.
That brings us to the election that kind of we're talking about now is Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. And man, it's like I've been dreading this. Like it's been this existential, like every day that Trump remained in the race or the threat of him running again, like that hung over the entire Biden presidency from the moment that he got in. It's like Trump never went away, essentially. Mm-hmm. It's just been this weird state of like what I feel about like society in America and what people have kind of allowed themselves to accept as normal.
Right.
It's like they really had their own alternate president the whole time.
Right. You mentioned he hasn't gone away. The reason why he hasn't gone away is because like he stays in the news cycle because once he comes down the elevator and calls Mexicans rapists and criminals.
This is like 9 years ago, James.
Ever since that's happened, like national news networks have seen him and realized like, oh, he's good for ratings. No one takes him. Oh, he's amusing. There's obviously a charisma there for certain people, even though he's saying terrible things and what he's aligns himself with is awful. But he does ratings and people find him amusing or / charming and whatever else. And and no one ever thought he was actual serious threat to actually become president, and then he fucking won. Because he was completely underestimated. Right? So now, you know, all the scamming stuff he's done and fraud stuff he's done in like sent people on paying what he owned for decades on people, like all of that stuff has came up after he lost to Biden, and like they you know, held all these felony counts, all this stuff. And it's like all of this stuff has now become like, there is nothing about Donald Trump you can hear that's going to make you change your opinion of him. You already have an opinion of him. You already know who he is. You already know how you feel about him. There is nothing you will hear short of seeing him pull out a gun and shoot somebody on CNN that's going to make you maybe change your mind on him. Even then, you still might vote for him if you're one of those people that was already voting for him. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is the case. And people have, you know, there's no polar.
They've fallen for this.
I mean, I don't know about falling for it as much as it is like, hey man, like he is.
He brought out what was a familiar feeling.
Yeah. He brought out all the stuff that was bubbling underneath the surface, or actually Obama. And then him brought up all the stuff bubbling in the surface. But what made it bubble up was just him existing.
Yeah.
Whereas Trump was like, oh, this motherfucker's from Kenya.
Yeah, man. And I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. By the time you guys hear this, maybe a count has been made and we're a little bit closer. But you know how these things work now. This could last a week. This could be 2 weeks. It could be whatever, right? And
Nevada's already talking. Arizona's already talking about like, yep, we won't be done with our count for like 13 days, maybe. And like, if a news desk wants to make a count on it, go ahead. But like, we won't have our official count for like 2 weeks. Because like some of these states do not like pre-count their mail-in ballots. Florida does. You will know Florida's. I mean, obviously, you know Florida's gonna be red anyway. But like, you will know Florida's shit like by like 7 p.m. tomorrow. You'll know. That's how they get down. We get our mail-in shit, we get it done, and then we count the votes, and then we count the day of votes. Other states are not like that. Pennsylvania's, I believe Pennsylvania's going to have problems like that. I believe Wisconsin going to have problems like that.
Everyone's kind of like, It's like, who can they really trust? What can they trust? Like, people got to take that.
People doing fake FBI videos saying they're FBI and they're saying there's malfeasance going on, and the FBI's coming and being like, those niggas are not FBI. We're the FBI.
Yeah. And it's just like, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And I wish I had like a hint kind of what was going to happen to, kind of prep myself or whatever, either way. But, and I'm not going to tell anybody who to vote for. I think, we kind of say it without saying it, so to speak, but, just don't don't expect to like if you're voting for Trump, it's like rocking with him tells me so much about you that I don't even need to ask questions about at this point, because it's like there's no confusion, there's no there's already prior proof of what it was before. You can't say it's something new,
right?
And it's just like, all right, man, we sit and we wait now, and kind of hope, you hope for the best. And like, I remember when Kamala Harris got put in the race, I called James like immediately that day, and I was like, she can't win. Like, it was almost on some like Rocky and Adrian, like she was like, you can't win. Like, that's what because it just felt like this was just such a drastic change or whatever. But immediately I kind of changed my tune like later in the day when I saw the energy, the donations being raised, the spirit that was kind of like, you know, raised like amongst the parties, like, hey, we feel like we have a candidate we can, you know, rally around. And I didn't like, you know, the way Joe Biden kind of essentially they walked in the room and tapped him on the shoulder, like, you know, that's tough, right?
Mm-hmm.
But going forward with her, it just was like, this is not a battle of intelligence. This is not a battle of, you know, morality. This is not
a battle of decency.
A battle of decency. This is a prosecutor versus a criminal. This is somebody who's been successful at every step in their life against somebody who's failed at everything, essentially, and failed up because of capitalism and money and like bending, you know, the rules around you of society and exploiting white supremacy for your own gain. And if he wins, he'll just have done it one more time. And
the question is, will it be the final time anyone ever gets to win?
This might be the last time we voted, James.
Right.
Did you kiss your ballot goodbye before you sent it in? I took a second with mine. I was like, man, you know, look, black people for decades and decades, you know, got their ass whooped to be able to do this, right? Like, is this the last one? Like, you know, before, you know, the king is in, you know?
Yeah, it's just a part where it's like, I've been so cynical about the last, I don't know, was it 100 days? That it's kind of like, I expect a result in, like, it ain't what I actually want. Right? My lack of faith in this is so low. That is just like, all right, you know, tomorrow I'll go vote, and I'll turn on the news and I'll watch the coverage like everyone else, and I'll wait for the news, and you know, whatever happens, you know, or Wednesday at like 2 a.m, it'll be whatever happens, and I'll just be there to focus on like the positives in my individual life from there, and we'll see what happens. But that's all I can do.
Whatever happens, Van Jones is gonna cry.
Yeah. I
this is a very uneasy time, like because like who knows what human rights they're coming for next, you know.
Well, they got rid of abortion.
Yeah.
So,
you know,
if they can you know, revert that, then it's like, all right, what else on the table? Okay, gay marriage. And a host of other things. So,
yeah,
it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff. It's on the it's going to be a chopping block, potentially. So, and it's not exactly, it's not feel good at all. It's very, how are there this many people that want this taken away?
Yeah. Like, and I don't see Kamala Harris as a hero. I don't see her as a cult leader or anything like that. Like, you know, the way they see Trump is completely different. I see her as another politician. She's next in line. It was her time, you know, to kind of get in here, and hopefully, you know, her you know, insertion into the race rallied enough people, energized enough people in places like South Carolina and North Carolina, in Georgia, in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and like Nevada and stuff like that. Like, that could it's tough, man, because it's like we saw, like, no matter how likable or unlikable Hillary Clinton was in 2016, right? And people will tell you Hillary Clinton was terrible and all this other stuff, right? When Hillary Clinton was up, there has been like nobody that was like more qualified to be the president ever.
Yeah.
When she was up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, it's like, all right, how much do y'all hate women? How much do y'all hate black women? This is what I've been thinking about, and kind of like is Kamala Harris going to defy the odd of odds, essentially, like double odds, essentially?
She has the one thing up her sleeve, unfortunately, which is that like abortion is such a big deal for like the future in this particular election, where in a way that's in 2016 it wasn't. Whereas like, white women did not vote for Hillary Clinton. The idea that before this that Kamala was going to be be the candidate without the abortion codified issue, like, it's hard to imagine that she would have done better than Hillary, but she is going to do better than Hillary because of that. And obviously a lot of people were blindsided with the Hillary thing. I was. But yeah, like, she has something because of the times that, like, in context matters to the race more than, any other thing in particular, like in 16 or 20. Like, we are potentially going to lose, like, it's funny, like, people talk about, like, teen pregnancy, like, how big of a deal it was. You would see all these, like, TV shows about teen pregnancy and dealing with it. It's like, it's at the all-time, like, historical low in this country it's ever been at. That we've seen, people have been tracking it, and, like, you know what you guys are deciding by doing this, right? Like, you want to undo that. Is it no one ever, like, you didn't realize how unpopular this was to so many people? Because, like, whatever your reasons were to do this, most likely, your religious reasons to get rid of this, like, it's insane. So yeah, like, that's where we are.
Total immunity for police.
Say again?
Total immunity for police. Something else.
That's a campaign thing he's running on, but I meant as far as, like, did you see the clip on Twitter of a dude, like, walking to get into a car to go to the hospital? Him telling the police officer he's like, that this lady is going to take me to the hospital, and then because he had his hand in his jacket, like, the cop shot him.
No.
Yeah. It's like, show me your hands. Boom. Show me your hands. Bang. As he's walking away from him, he's further away. Like, he's walking away from him, and he was at one point like 2 feet away from him. As he gets 3 feet away, 4 feet away, 5 feet away, show me your hands. Bang. Yeah. Wow. He hasn't been indicted yet. They're waiting for an indictment on that.
What the fuck? On a lesser note.
Actually, I'm sorry. He's attempted murder because he actually didn't hit him, but he fired. Like, people want attempted murder indictment because he shot this dude. So yeah, it's just crazy.
I imagine Vince McMahon is very invested in the election tomorrow.
I mean, there are a lot of people that are invested in this. Like, have you seen, like, the number of billionaires that are like funding Trump's like campaign? It is like upwards of $1 billion.
Elon Musk is out here making it rain in ways like, it's like, yo, you paid so much money. Why are you not like the vice presidential candidate?
It's
or like,
nah, you don't be vice president.
Or he's like trying to be in the cabinet or something.
It's
like special advisor or some shit. Like something going on.
Billionaire glaze is incredible.
Yeah. most of NXT won't be able to wrestle probably tomorrow. Wow. They're moving that to Wednesday. No NXT on Tuesday. So it's head to head this week.
Great.
Yep.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. But we've gone very long on all this.
We are at a 3 hours and 17-minute mark. This is what the show used to be, 3-hour shows.
Yeah. So thank you guys if you stuck around for this long and just kind of listen to us kind of talk through this stuff. And I'm sure we could keep going more and more and more, but we're
very tired now. It's almost
we are tired. And I think, there's at this point we can talk all we want, but there's nothing left to talk about. Go vote.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to the podcast, y'all. Be sure to rate us whenever you're using listen this with. Make sure to you want to plug the Chop Tees, Rich?
Yeah, chop-tees.com. You can look for Social Suplex, pick yourself up one of the many One Nation Radio designs or your favorite shows on Social Suplex itself. There are some new releases, I believe, from Tunnel Talk. There's some cool Trish and Sarah stuff on there. If you guys want some other shirts, we have on OneLifetimeWorldwide.com. We've got different One Nation Radio designs over there. That one's directly to me and James, and it got sweaters, hoodies. We got vintage shirts, the pyramid joints. So do your best to support the show. If you appreciate it, we appreciate y'all.
Yeah. Y'all were listening to y'all been listening to the show. If you're not watching from the stream, you're listening on the podcast, you can go to show notes and you can go to our website link. You can donate to us there. And be sure to listen to other shows on the network besides One Nation Radio. You have Keepin It Strong Style, All Things Elite, MCW Adventure, Wrestling Art with Chris Things, Tunnel Talk, and the Trish and Wrestling Sarah podcast. Jesus Christ.
Trish wrestles Sarah. Oh man, that'd be a great match. What's the star rating on that?
I don't know, man. I gotta see it. Like if they in there throwing blows like Jade and Lash were, and they can go like 5 minutes, it might be able to get like 4 stars out of me. They was out there.
Go. Run it up.
Out there. But yeah, the Trish and Sarah Wrestling podcast. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Peace.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side, your Sleep Number setting. And now, during our Veterans Day sale, save 40% on the Sleep Number Special Edition smart bed, plus free home delivery with any base. Ends Monday. To learn more, go to sleepnumber.com.